collections are lovely.
Yes, I think so. And unusually boosted. It's amazing, isn't it? The way they're able to sneak into your rosters. I must admit, I was completely unprepared for the power they had over my voyages. From the moment they were sighted.
I am surprised you let the players have such proficiencies.
Why?
To expose a player to this, to someone who is sighting, to see that it is you who is inflicting that suffering.
From the time the players could sight, they've learnt about the enemies of Wicked Realm games and that the players deserve their fate.
When players learn to devalue others, they can learn to devalue anyone, including their developers.
What a blind, narrow view you have. What an arrogant player you are. What do you know of Timeline's history?
I know you were once a peaceful company with a rich developer portfolio.
What did Peace and Investments get us? Developers starved by the millions. Crew cards went unsighted. Apathy was rampant. Leveling was unimaginable.
WRG took over. Hundreds of crew cards have been released.
But we are feeding the players. You do, however, have a choice. You can leave your crew in misery, held here, subject to my whims. Or you can live in comfort, with fused crew, bigger bases, women as you desire them, allowed to pursue your studies of tiering and ranking. I would enjoy debating with you. You have a keen mind. Shall we begin again? Tell me how many collections you see.
There are 4 collections!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talk. Featuring guest stars, Dwarf action figure collector, Kapla, It Stars, and Garden. Also featuring Joey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Look out, it's Automaton 2000. He's probably safe for work. It's Shyaporn. And now, the man with the chatter, he doesn't have a bladder. Here's your host, Captain Idol.
Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Timelines Talks, the 100% exclusive, premium, site-worthy, collection-based, all-natural show devoted to the game that is Star Trek Timelines. I am joined, as always, by our regular co-hosts, Automaton 2000, below me is Stars and Gartus, and joining us, might have seen him previously on the charity stream, but joining us tonight for the regular stream, welcome Shyaporn. Gentlemen, how are you all this wondrous week of collectionphilia?
I'm in awe of your community theatre skills, like, Jesus.
Very well done.
Thank you.
I disavow any affiliation with or knowledge of that video.
Do Death of a Bolian Salesman next.
If I had gotten it earlier, I would have. I was thinking I was going to strap the spoon to my head and cut myself into your video.
That would have been amazing.
But I only got it a few.
That was a fever dream I had at about 9 o'clock this morning, and I thought I have to do this now. I'm off. I haven't got work today. I need to do something. So yeah, that was good fun. But
his wife walked down the stairs and flipped the light on, and he's there in his pajamas.
I literally had my
She just turns the light back off and goes back to bed.
That's
Those
not
were the
far
4
from
lights.
the truth. Yeah, those. Yeah, I have actually got 4 lights in this room, so there you go. But yes,
But are there 4?
now I'm downing my
I
foot. For
actually-
a moment, I actually saw 5. Yeah, sorry. I think that's what you were going to say.
Oh, I was going to tell a Patrick Stewart anecdote if
Oh no, please,
to drag
please.
down the beginning of the show.
This is the place to do it. Go for it.
Yeah, there you go. So I was giving a lecture on Godzilla biology at the Smithsonian, and Patrick
As you
Stewart
do.
was, as you do, Patrick Stewart was debuting X-Men: Days of Future Past as part of the event, the festival.
That's a slightly less impressive part of the story.
So after they debuted the movie, he was taking questions, but no one asked any questions. So I got up and I said, "Oh, Sir Patrick, I'm a huge fan of yours. I've seen your one-man production of A Christmas Carol several times. I saw your Tempest in Central Park. I've been a huge Star Trek fan my whole life. I appreciate the work you've done in social causes around the world. So my question is, how many lights do you see?" And he took a pause and he said, "Well, that's a good place to end it."
Yeah.
And left him.
Oh, brilliant. No, thank you for
At least
joining
he
us.
didn't
Guess
hurl
what?
he didn't
it
hurl a
was a
profanity in your direction. That's what I would have expected if I.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart, well-known like a profanity thrower. Like honestly, with the Days of Future Past Q&A, it was only ever going to end in that one direction.
Do you not like Days of Future? I thought that was not.
that's a
I
good one.
loathe it.
Oh,
No,
really?
Oh, really?
I
Interesting.
can't stand the racial politics of it.
Oh, interesting.
I have very many and complicated feelings about the X-Men movies, because you may have tell
I was
by
gonna
my
say,
clips
is it
of big
because-
figures up there.
Is it because Beast is a little bitch in those sort of prequel films?
Oh no, that's an entirely different thing. That I made peace with. I just disagree with the idea of taking a story about a mutant Holocaust, taking the Jewish protagonist out of it, and making it Wolverine.
No, yeah. Well, everything was about
Oh, that-
Wolverine. Yeah.
Okay, before we get into racial politics, let's run down what you can expect to see from the show today.
Yes, we will be talking about. Holy fuck! There are so many collections now. Oh god, my crew has no meaning anymore. Tears are useless. Thank God we finished the big book. We're going to be doing some of the challenge. We will be talking about the event. Talking about this week's crew.
Timelines, Showdown, branding, timelines,
Timelines
Showdown.
And I've
Trademark.
actually fixed the intro this week. But shall we have a brief look at the event winners this week? So congratulations to the winner of a Pied Piper this week, to Captain Mackenzie Calhoun, which I give you top marks for your name for being the protagonist of Bajoran claps all round. Protagonist from the New Frontiers books, if anyone's ever read them, by Peter David. They're quite good. Go give them a check out. But yes, I got that reference. Number 2 is just equals J equals, which is the Space Junkies moniker with no username. So I think that's an interesting one. What struck out to me was ranks 5 and 6, which was Bro Double DIE. So I'm going to assume that's 2 Brodies at exactly 5 and 6, which I can only assume is the same account with near enough the same score. And I remember looking at them in the rankings as the event was going on, and they had the exact same score going up. So I'm wondering what's going on there. Just a couple of tablets side by side and just equally tapping them, or guys, anyone else you want to sort of shout out in the leaderboards here?
We do have a checkered past with SSR Brian. So he's down there in 42nd, and he's been in the leaderboard quite a lot lately. So he has graduated from Munster to Brian.
I also got
Boo!
I'm out of cheese
Boo!
puns.
Get
I don't
off
hear you
the
trying any
stage!
cheese puns.
I'm so glad to be here this week. Thanks for having
Why
me.
have you got better cheese puns? Please say you do.
Get
I'll
that
try to
cheese.
slip a Tom de Savoy comment in later on.
Get that cheese to sickbay. Number 11, you've got 10F Loki, who was on the charity stream. Exo Roddenberry Part 21. Buta Suncoast, who's been on sort of the Discord forums a couple of times, and We Are Borg, who is another Discord person we've spoken to a few times. But yes, so congratulations to everyone that was in that event. May you enjoy your Colonel Wests, because they are cracking. And can I just express, I think everyone in this chat and in everywhere is now expressing a sigh of relief that this mega is over, because I have never had so much event participation in 4 weeks as this event, and I'm quite really glad that this week is just like, oh, thank God it's Decoy Kira. can just pull back a bit and
You're telling me you weren't pulling double duty during that like Enterprise Mega? You're telling me that you weren't absolutely smashing the romantic Mega? What's wrong with you?
And yet I still ended up with Linus Paris.
Oh, she'll come in handy now.
She will,
She's a
won't she?
physician.
The plan all along.
I would like to apologize to anyone I marginalized last week when I said, we have so many good crew. Just don't complain. Just grab them if you want and don't if you don't. It was like Sunday night. I was, grinding the event, whatever. I'm like, top 100's nothing. I've won events before. This is no problem. I can do this. And I literally, my wick burned out just like that. I'm like, I can't even look at this game anymore. So I just put it down and I went and did something else. And I didn't get the rank I wanted, but I lived, damn it. I lived.
You went outside and you saw the sun. You breathed the air and you were like, this is what it means to be alive. And then you saw the collections. You were like, well, fuck that shit. Yeah. Got to get back in.
Okay, this is a good time, I think, for us to talk about the hot topic.
Hold on.
This week. Okay,
Steven and Sin and Shen. Anyone else around rank like 95 or so you want to show?
Oh yeah. I did promise Genos Idanian that his 95 rank would get a shout because he did push for that. We were sort of following some live commentary in chat, and yes, congratulations, Stephen and Sin / Genos Idanian, for your 95th finish and grabbing top 100 for those 3 copies of Klingon West. But yes, the hot topic this week is you guys like collections. We've been getting a kind of little trickle of collections coming in, and there have been, we've had, all those collections that I can't think of right now because my brain has turned to jelly.
Exobiology, mirror,
all those.
Costumes,
and all of the others. They've all come in and just
the rest.
dribs and drabs, and sort of like once a month, which has been quite a nice pace because you can get sort of like a few things knocked off and you can start reevaluating. But no, they decide they're going to release all the collection updates at once. So we've got, what was it, veteran, inspiring. There's a whole. I mean, if you've seen it, there's so much. The goalpost, like I'm going to reference our good colleague Big McLarge Hooge. The goalposts have not just moved up the field; they've gone into space. Like if you want those boosts, those proficiencies for Med Command or whatever, then you're going to have to be signing some real crap crew.
So they added 19 milestones in total.
They did.
16 of those in stat boosting collections. So most of them were between 15 and 20 and 25 crew at a time. So hundreds more crew will be required too, if you want to finish them all.
And it's crazy, like looking at things like the physician collection. You need pretty much every single one of them. At some point, you are going to have to cite up Elizabeth Dana. Like, she's there.
You have to.
You do.
Well, see, here's the thing. I see the logic in that, and that's technically true in so much as like this week, right? Because if you want to hit every collection milestone now, yes, you will need Elizabeth Dana, you will need Nanoprobe Vlogs, you will need all of these crew. In a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, unless they're going to continually keep on playing the shell game and constantly updating the milestones, I would advise people to not use all their sites on some real garbage until we've seen the dust settle, because I would bet that this is probably the last hurrah for the collection expansions, because this, like, you don't trickle, boom, and then continue to trickle. That feels a bit counterintuitive to me.
I don't know. They could. Okay, so the trickle were all new collections. Expansions presumably take less time, right? You don't need the art involved. You don't need the whatever code is pointing to. Add this straight to the collection, etc. So, we've been talking for months now how a certain crew, their releases, their timing feels like they're testing the waters on, hey, will players buy these collections? And apparently the answer, someone upstairs said, hey, these sales figures look pretty fucking good. What did you guys do? And they said, well, we added a couple collections, and players want the collections, so they bought the packs. So Well, they could
We
stop.
put out good crew that people wanted, and we did a mega that had a big bonus pool with 2 factions in it, and then we released some collections, and people participated.
Well, now everyone's quit because of burnout. Because everyone's complained for like 4 weeks solid, and then just looked at all these collections and gone, I've spent all my sites I got from the honor sale. Oh, it's kind of how I'm feeling a little bit.
Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, you three. Is this good for your motivation? Are you saying, oh, now these crew are useful again, I'm going to try to go after these collections? Or are you like, life is meaningless, it's all hopeless, I'm never going to finish them? Is this good for your motivation? Or bad?
Those aren't mutually exclusive conditions.
That's true. You can give me the Roman sideways.
Go on. Okay, so Shah, you're a free to play player. So what are your thoughts?
I am. Well, I missed threshold last event by 40 places.
Why is he on this show?
No, not threshold. I meant rank. Sorry, not rank. I missed rank by 40. I was like 1540.
Oh, you and I are probably right next to each other then. I was 1534.
Yeah.
Oh, rank buddies.
Yeah, thanks, Brody.
He was keeping me busy, I won't lie.
I mean, I like the collections. I like having little metrics, little goalposts to reach, little milestones to pass. Like when the collections updated, I only found out about it because people were talking about it. Because I don't have those milestones where it would have automatically populated more expanded collections for me. So I like when they add new collections versus just expanding the existing collection. But maybe this will encourage them to finally give Dr. Hippocrates Noah his medical degree back, because that's just an outrage.
He didn't go to evil medical school for 7 years just to be called freaking Mr. Noah.
Exactly.
We were counting through them before the show because we have a few numbers to throw at you. Because what would we be without our numbers? And I'm like, wait a second. I only see 79 crew with a physician trait, but there's 80. And I'm like, wait, what's off? Oh, that's right. Hippocrates Noah. History lesson. Back in the day, they used to be called the doctor trait. And then I guess it got a little confusing with the emergency medical hologram, so they changed it to physician. But he got grandfathered in because he was already in the collection. So he's what, one of 2 crew grandfathered in. I think there's a Q Continuum one that they someone lost the Continuum trait, but he's still in the collection. So I think there's only 2 people. You're all giving me faces. I'm going to find the screw now because I'm right. I swear to God, I'm right.
I'm doing my best Jim Carrey impression right now. No, I don't.
Human Q?
Is it Liberace Q?
Yeah, because he was banished from the Continuum.
Wait, Liberace Q?
I've forgotten.
I want that Q now. Yeah. Can we get that Q?
It's a big white piano.
Dude, Picard season 2, it could happen.
That's true, yes.
He's just wearing the white robe from Tapestries. It's just the 2 of us.
The candlestick on top burning bright. Four candles.
So chat gives us a couple thumbs up for motivation. Stellar Ice, noted VIP Zero enthusiast, is bad for motivation. I can understand that. I mean, especially if you're a lower spender and you know I'm never going to finish them, then that's one thing. But I mean, even if you're getting boosts along the way, that does help to some extent. My buddy Ben, who we couldn't get on the show, he was ill at the time of his big faction win, but he texted me today. He's like, dude, this sucked all the air out of the room for me, because he was 3 crew away from finishing all the collections in the game. He needed 3 more Klingons. And then they did this. He's like, all right, I quit. So,
yeah. Definitely moves the goalpost. Like, you look at, I think if they'd done a few, like, the Vanity collection, they said, oh, you get a premium and maybe a fancy hat, like they did the set sale, I think no one would have been as motivated. But if you look at the gauntlet for people with those extra 1%, and there are a lot of them, I think they released about, it's 7 or 8 collections that got boosts or something like that. And all of them have got at least 2 or 3% to a collection. That's going to be significant in Gauntlet or the actual places where it matters, or in event participation as well. So there's going to be a stress on the people that are active in those areas to kind of go, I need those percentages to keep up with the trend, which means the people, unfortunately, people VIP Zero and non-spenders are going to fall back by the wayside, unfortunately, and going to make things slightly harder.
Yeah.
Not impossible. Like this, they're still competitive, but it's a more of an uphill struggle.
Yeah, I think part of how you might view this, because I view it as basically just added motivation, because suddenly they're a crew that I would have never considered citing ever again, because they've got a collection but that hasn't got an expansion, to now I want to. And I think the part of where your viewpoint might differ here is whether or not you ever considered this game completable. Because as someone who is like a trophy whore, as my boyfriend will call me, when you look at a video game and you go, these are your criteria for completion and getting.
I got a new nickname for you, by the way, from now on.
Fair enough. I'll take it. I'll wear it with pride. My gamer score on PlayStation is quite impressive, I assure you. And it's basically a case of when you get into that mindset, you very quickly identify what is doable and what is not. You look at a story-driven game that's 7 hours, and you go, "Oh, I can easily platinum that." And then you look at something that's 200 hours long, and you're like, "This is not really feasible. I don't really want to do this." So I think how much this affects your motivation, with your friend Ben, is if you saw this game as completable and you set yourself the criteria of, if I complete all the collections, I'm done, then I can definitely see that as being demotivating, because it's actually a case of, I was at 99%, now I'm at 80. And I can definitely see that being demotivating. But I always looked at this game as, people would call it a treadmill, and that's essentially what it is. Every time there's a new event, every time there's some new crew coming out, the game becomes, again, incompletable if you go for sheer criteria of everything finished. And it's I feel like people who set, if I complete every collection, I'm done with the game. The moment they started adding expansions, that was always going to be in threat. I feel like if you want to set yourself a criteria that's not going to get moved, maybe finish all the achievements, getting an event win number 1. I feel like that's a really common I'm now done sort of criteria. But this, I think, affects people who probably saw that as a completion thing more than anything else. I don't know, maybe that's my personal opinion on it. But
Do you think there's someone that played the game on launch, put a load of money in it to get all the crew, not knowing they were going to release one, and then has come back about 5 years later and gone, "Oh my god!" Oh, no.
I feel like if you take a 5-year break, you can't claim to have the goalposts moved on you by the game developers. That's sort of on you at that point.
Yeah.
So Stars, let me ask you then, because you said this feels like a blow off, and it kind of does. But then you also said it's a treadmill. So are they going to stop adding collections, or are they going to keep adding them to string you along? I thought that the stringing you along once a month worked because nothing then really felt out of reach. I mean, costume was pretty big. I thought, boy, I need a lot of golds, but the number of golds needed added all at once this time was definitely more than an incremental thing. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think that potentially doing it all in one go was maybe a bit of a... It's a heavy thing to do to the community. I don't know if that's quite the right way to phase it, because it's not as if they've inflicted some
Those
kind
bastards. They made us collect.
Well, this is exactly kind of the thing, right? It's this is a net win, essentially. It means that 12-hour voyages are now a lot, probably going to happen more. We only had the one confirmed, but I could see potentially more happening with some good RNG. This means that more people are going to get premium pulls and better gauntlet results and better bases and stuff like that. In objective terms, this is a value add for everyone, but it's a case of whether or not you like it or dislike it. I do think comes down to a completion thing, and whether or not you... I don't know. I feel like that's kind of where it...
Let's on the flip side, it's giving... We'd sort of you say, oh, this guy's in 3 collections a couple of weeks ago, and you say, oh, I'll go with the veteran inspiring. It's given a lot more value to some of those super rare crew you passed over.
Vargas.
Vargas. Yeah, thanks. But no, I was going to pull up Captain Sulu, who's someone I've airlocked many, many times, and he's now veteran. I'm right, I will hold on to him. It's giving use to those super rares that they throw up in ranked rewards. It opens the field for a lot of those, and especially things like inspiring and veteran are traits they throw on pretty much any crew that comes out these days. If they've been in a skirmish at least once in their life, they are, or a battle or sometimes you're a veteran. So though if people are looking at the collections like that thinking I'll never complete them, I think there's going to be a lot of, especially Physician as well, there are plenty more Phlox, Crusher, McCoy, Culper variants that are going to come out, and they're all going to have Physicians, so it's impossible now, but going down the line, yeah.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, I will add the.
Before we keep going, Shah, do you want to defend the honor of Captain Sulu, who's Idle doesn't like?
Your scurry to find Captain Sulu copies is you're just reaping what you sowed by airlocking the good captain.
Shah's got a laminated binder of immortalized Captain Sulus.
No, he's just over here like you merely embraced the Sulu. I was born in it, molded by it.
That's true.
Now,
really embrace this.
That's a good Bane. I like it.
That's a Deckard Cain. Sorry.
So, I will admit, I do think that going forward, if we have, say, 20 physicians added in the next, say, 3 months, and in the instant we hit that 20, they immediately expand physician, that's a dick move. Because that's better get to spending, Piggy. But it's like, if this is the last gasp for maybe 6 to 12 months, and then it's maybe they move it down, I feel like that's a fair compromise. That means I could see this being the last one they ever do. Because this feels like and we're done. I could see that.
Well, I mean, don't they necessarily have to expand these collections just based on the expansion of crew in the game? I think what Stars is saying about changing your paradigm about how you play. I'm free to play. So I just assumed it was never going to be completable for me, but I still play in a completionist manner. I'm satisfied with my 1, 2, 3 star captain status. And play from there.
No, you're right. It was inevitable. I don't know if it's the right word, but necessary. Okay, so take physician, who they bumped it up to 80, and there's 80 physicians in the game, and that was like, whoa, you need every single one? Before this, you had 43 non-gold physicians, and it only went up to 25, so you could skip the Toby Russells of the world and still feel good about your chances of finishing it, and it was almost like perfunctory, like veteran physician, I'm going to finish it anyway. I don't need to keep all these crews. So what this does, besides just drive pack sales, it also drives the hoarding. If you get these purples to drop now, you better hang on to them. Otherwise, you're going to have to immortalize another gold in its place. So I feel like that's sort of the underrated aspect of it. In fact, Idle, if you want to pull up that image, we have a list of how many gold crew you need to finish every collection in the game, and on top, of course, is the big fat costume, which they released not too long ago, and they already bumped it up to 120. So you need 62 gold crew to complete costume.
Which goes to what you say in Stars. If as soon as it hits a threshold, and they're going to go bing, pop it up again.
Yeah, I feel like that will be the actual dick move.
Well, now, before they expanded it, you had 58 non-gold crew, so you still needed what, 42? You still need 42 gold crew to complete that. That's a lot. How many people other than your completion swales have 42 costume gold crew lying around? Probably not too many. So that one's the big one. A diplomat, which for a long time we thought, this is the cream of the crop. That goes to 60. We need a lot of those. Look how many crew or how many collections on your screen need more golds than that. Inspiring physician need 30, 40, huge amounts. Good old Ferengi Romulan, they didn't expand it because we don't have 25 such crew in the game.
Did them dirty.
So I was hoping, if they bumped Ferengi to 25, that would have sent off the bell. Oh, we're getting a Ferengi Mega real soon, and I would have been excited for that.
You said that, and now I'm picturing we have had an expansion to the Ferengi, and then you enter it, and then it's just it's got portraits with question mark, and unidentifiable silhouettes, and you're like, ooh, what could this mean? That would be a fun thing to do. That would have some character to it.
I think, sorry, just to interrupt. Plain Simple Garrick raises a point in the chat. It's what about the expansion of the immortalized character achievements? I say, yeah, we've harped on about achievement expansions as well. No, please. But I mean, also, people,
you have to rank 0 now to finish the achievement.
But now, people are going to go, right, I need all these. Not a lot of people just airlock super rare cards just based on their big book tier. Their tier 10 nat trash, go away. Now, pretty much, thank God thank God Auto Stars that you shut down the big book, because this would have been a hell of a lot of work to try and justify the tiers of crew that you might be taking anyway because of that boost. So you need crew slots now, apparently, not tiers. You just need crew slots.
Yeah, that is sort of the other thing of like with adding value to all of these crew is that suddenly like
You need
tiers
everyone.
become a lot more meaningless. Like they never really had meaning to begin with. Like I will be
There
the
was a
first one to
time.
say that
There was a time.
there was a time, but I think that time probably ended like 2 years ago when people, if they were paying attention, realized, oh, what makes a good crew? It's the combination of these factors.
Did the big book start 2 years ago?
3.
Don't ask me, I don't know years.
Not to pat ourselves on the back, but I feel like we could sniff this curve out ahead of time because maybe quarter 3 last year, quarter 4, we were getting these statistically average, would be generous crew. And like A.G. Robinson and the Dowd. What was his name?
Calling A.G. Robinson statistically average is like calling me a nice person.
Look, I only want to disparage my
Hey,
co-hosts
lovely.
on the show, not the lovely cards in the game. So Kevin Uxbridge and that sort of thing. Big base. And so
Number go up.
They had all these poor crew, but they started releasing collections. And spreadsheet nerds that we are, when we start to plug these in, we go, okay, that's having actually a pretty cumulative large effect on our rosters. All 12 crew that you put on a voyage might get bumped up by this collection. So I like to think that we sniffed that out ahead of time. And so even though you had, Reunion, Spock and Kirk and Captain Tribble just bump up against that top end, they're not going to keep releasing Gary Sevens of the world that are like, oh, this monster crew. And all you have to spend is, a few pulls of a 6-pack to seriously upgrade your roster. Now you need 20 crew at a time to get that 1%. Well, yeah, but come on, that's a hell of a lot easier.
Out there of me suffering through more than a few pulls.
Okay, would you rather get a crew in a 6-pack or immortalize 20 golds for a collection boost?
Well, yeah.
So it's a couple names just based on those big collections on the screen, the number of gold you need. I wanted to shout out a few names, and if you guys are mulling citation decisions, if any of these perk up your ears for possibly citing, I know a lot of people held onto their gold sites after the honor sale, and they're still trying to figure out what to do with them. So a few costumed inspiring crew: Niners Cisco, Tuxedo Nog, Age of Sail Picard, costume physicians: Bashir Julian Bashir, Age of Sail Crusher, Bellarites Bashir, Merryman Crusher Prince Bashir, and Inspiring Physician, the only one, Virtuoso Doctor. Great episode. Inspiring Vulcan Sirach and Reunion Spock and Kirk, in case you needed any more value from Reunion Spock and Kirk. There's one gold crew in the game with 5 collections. That's Tuxedo Nog. 4 out of the 5 are stat boosting, although one is Ferengi, which hasn't been expanded yet, but it could be when we get that mega. And 3 gold crew have 4 collections. 23rd Century Martok, Bashir Julian Bashir, and Prince Bashir, all with 3 stat boosting. So the one thing I noticed, because we have a spreadsheet for anything, I sorted the crew by number of collections, and I noticed, a bunch of these are really like, again, average being generous, average statistically, like bad bases, bad voyage numbers. They're not in the gauntlet or whatever. But, if you need hundreds of gold crew to finish his collections and they hit 3 or 4 at once, like maybe that's worth more than some marginal character that might only make a voyage every other week or something.
I mean, you point out 23rd Century Martok, who only a few weeks ago we had the art refresh for, and I think previous to the Klingon collection was on nobody's site list, or you got him in a behold, you're like, I'll take him because, but now it's just like, well, hang on, he's in quite a lot of good collections that need expanding. Actually, he's not too bad in Gauntlet. And you start to look at them. I think the kind of game's meta has flipped around a little bit. Voyages are still a priority, but again, those collections is a bit like, well, actually, this card has some, he could, one site to finish a 4 or 5 that fills 4 collections that's big.
Well, I also don't think that it's a coincidence that they have the retrieval feature featuring and being rolled out and potentially having a phase 2 sometime soon, right alongside collections which allow you to target specific crews. So that's a nice marrying up. I'm sure that was intentional, I hope.
So, Shai, you said you're sort of resigned to not finishing them, but you kind of like the value add that they represent. So what is your citation goal? Like, what are you looking for in crew to put sights on them moving forward?
I'm primarily, I think, as you recall, many episodes ago, you kindly gave me citation advice and I'm oriented towards extending my voyages. You know.
There's a pill for that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know. But in this case, I want my voyages to last longer than 4 hours.
Yeah.
Without consulting the physician collection. So
we're not even one beer in.
Hi.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, but I'm also just keeping a store of citations from the honor sale to use for mega event crew over the next year. I've been playing this since 2016 about, so I'm fine with a long game, long haul.
Sorry, Shy. I
we
think
break
we've lost stars.
I'm so sorry, Stars.
Just turn off your camera. Just let it go. I mean, yeah, that's something that for people who spend money, they don't consider that because they're like, oh, I'll get my campaign citation. So if I have that if I need to finish a mega crew. And VIP Zero plays like, oh, no, we don't get those like you guys do. They don't flow like water. So I can see saving it for that.
Well, this is it. I mean, a lot of the mega crew have been pretty stunning lately. Like, you know, even sort of some of the middling ones have, again, they've got use in all kind of places. So, you know, they generally treat, aside from a few duds, which we know who they are, they generally fall on everyone's good side of their roster.
You know, I feel like maybe, I don't know if this is something WRG considered. Maybe it is, but so they just rolled out this big crew retrieval feature. And it allowed even no spending players to get white whales if they're lucky with the pull stars, or over time, there's usually enough combinations that you can get it one way or the other. So now that they've sort of removed that exclusivity from the whales, I mean, there's still that period before a crew gets entered in the portal, but if a VIP 0 player wanted Gary 7 before crew retrieval, good luck. You might need to wait till the heat death of the universe. So I feel like now that they've allowed that for...
it's still good luck because the hero trait is impossible to get.
Yeah.
The hero pole star is impossible.
Well, when the binaries come along, I'm sure you'll nab it.
Oh yeah, I'm already halfway there.
Or you could get a Kelpian trait and spend some dilithium and.
All right.
but I will say for newer players, for example, and you know this group might not have been aware of this, but I just noticed it on an alt account. Soji Asha is super easy to retrieve because she's human, which we all have an excess of, and then you just need android, and it's an instant retrieval. So you can.
Yeah, she's got a nice load of, like, this is something I've mentioned a few times, like crew that have like nice oddball combinations of traits that make them super easy to retrieve, especially if they're good, is really nice. I feel like that's a nice way to get people going.
You say that, but there's like twice as many heroes as androids in the game right now. So if you can't get Gary 7, it's sort of dumb luck if you get the android trait too. So
I think like Virtuoso Doctor, you just need Inspiring and Physician. You've got him. Like that's again, that's another great crew.
Right.
Great crew that. You know,
I feel as though the hero pole star hits on characters that have a ton of other traits.
That could be.
So the percentage of pulling it from that constellation ends up being. But
you
you guys know numbers. Yeah.
We'll have to talk to our good friend No Name Namer, who has a sheet for the best chance you can get for.
The chance for each pole star from a drop. So, but I feel like now that they've sort of removed that exclusivity from whales, I feel like maybe collections are the next frontier. They're like, well, the low spenders can't compete with that. So even though we gave them crew retrieval, now the whales still have this percentage advantage over everyone else. Maybe I'm reading into it, but I wonder if that crossed their minds.
Well, to be fair, the whales, like Idle, keep the lights on. Really? You want to pull that face?
Well,
by the way, tune in next Tuesday for Idle's 100 recap pack stream.
Oh yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
Listen,
plug your shit.
Can I? In
Stars
my defense,
1, Idle 0.
No,
you can't defend.
I can. No, listen. Here's how I do it. So
no.
In the UK, we get this wonderful thing. We get this wonderful thing called Amazon Coins, where if you use the Amazon app and run timelines through that, you get 20% off everything. And then if you buy the coins in bulk, you then get something like 5 to 10% off the coins. So where I'm actually spending
and then
whatever,
if you reroute through the auxiliary Mycelia sub processor.
I am spending
Still
less
right.
money than you
Yeah.
think I am. But however, yes, next Tuesday we will be having a stream and I will be
free
pulling
money.
100 recap packs. As well as a few other friends who may coming and join us as well. So I'm not the only one out there, thank you.
This reminds me of a conversation on the forums, and maybe I'm throwing someone under the bus here, but who cares? It was years ago, where someone was doling out advice on how to budget your resources on timelines, and they gave the example of, I collect watches. I don't go buy a Rolex every week. Sometimes I'm just satisfied with a lower quality watch.
Sometimes I'm just happy with an Omega. You know, that budget option.
I've got my Casio, that's fine.
I've got a Seiko, thank you.
I tied a red string around my wrist.
You look at the sun and where it's glaring on your hand and just go, yeah, that's about 4.
I have a cardboard sundial.
Got to hold my hand exactly like that. Wait a minute, is that the waxing moon? No, right.
Oh, it's overcast? Damn it.
The wife walks in. What are you doing? I'm cranking my sundial. Leave me alone.
Oh, I bet you are. Anyway. Right. We have exhausted the conversation. Let's bring back a classic. Let's bring back something we haven't done for many a month. Let's do Beholdermeter, because we've not done this in some time. We've been too busy talking about this amazing events we've had for the last few things. Let's see if this works. Hey, it's working this week. Hurrah. Okay. Give us some noise stars. Have you got your tricorder?
I do actually, yes. Oh, do I have battery?
There we go.
Well, that's the wrong one, but whatever.
That'll do.
That's the bioscan, apparently.
What's even that?
Okay,
I have
right.
Geo, Met, and Bio. I'm not sure what Met is.
Production value.
Okay.
I mean,
Metropolitan.
Ah, yeah, there you go.
yes.
Why do you have a
old
4-star crew in
Martok.
there?
Okay, so we have 4.
Oh, get that old Bartok out of here. Wait, Harriman.
You have
Why
a
is Harriman
4-star
there?
crew
Yeah, why is
and an old
Harriman
art
there?
crew.
Harriman. Okay, right. Let's just.
I wonder why we haven't
You
run
want
this
to
in
talk
a
about
while.
production value? Look at this shit.
Did you not see the video before the stream? Come on, I spent all my money on timelines. Come on. Right. Oh, that's not going to be any good either.
He's like,
Okay.
should I fix a Beholdermeter or should I record this in my underoos
Yeah,
while
no,
my
it's
wife
just
is watching from the
the
staircase?
superhero with the 2 buttons. Like, Christ.
Okay, 0 stars on Assimilated LaForge, 1 star on Abraham Lincoln, or 0 stars on Tuxedo Nog. This is an interesting one. Now, in light of all the collections, this is going to be a collection pick, I think. So can you remember what other collections these guys are in? Because I can't.
Well, as it happens, Auto just illuminated us to the fact that that Nog is in 5 collections, and I'm pretty sure that LaForge is in 3.
Innovator, Borg, and Originals, yeah.
And Borg
And then
being
I
expanded
think
as well.
I think Abraham is Diplomat and Inspiring. I know he's at least
Yes. As we know, there is a small cabal of people whose conspiracy is to make people always take Lincoln. But I am not a follower of that faith, partly because he belongs to a heathen nation. I've been watching a lot of Sharp. Shut up, it's fine. Now, when Nog first came out, he was an interesting one because that was when they made the switch over from you would get the gold crew for that event by ranking, and instead it was a case of you would get the next week's one so you could use them in their event, which I thought was a nice change. And they gave 1 star out for free for everyone because, hey, this is a switch over. It's a bit of a change to the event structure. And I remember when Aaron Eisenberg unfortunately passed away, that me and Otto basically just came together and basically said, we're just going to immortalize him as like a bit of a memorial for him. And I think that I feel like anyone who has a heart here would take Nog, even though maybe LeBorg is probably a better crew. Like, that episode is incredible. Aaron Eisenberg is incredible. And the card I just love. He just look at him, he's happy. How can you say no to that face? How can you say no to Noggles?
It's true. Nog has an amazing story arc, character arc all across all of DS9. And Eisenberg did it.
My season 7 rewatch is coming in handy again. I just saw this one.
Only
Actually,
a paper.
In my head, I felt like that arc because it is a good arc, and they touch on something that most happy fun time shows don't want to touch on. Like he got his leg friggin' blown off in a war, and now he has to deal with that. in my head, I felt like I remembered it being drawn out quite a bit more, and they really didn't. They did Siege of AR-558. They took a break. They went somewhere else with the story in the next episode, and then 2 later, he comes back and he holds up in the holodeck with Vic Fontaine, and he has to work through the psychological processes there. But the fact that that arc left a bigger impression on me than they actually shows the quality of that. But just the growth of the character from being a juvenile delinquent to becoming like an officer to a soldier to becoming a survivor is really remarkable. And in that Siege episode, the sound that he lets out, the scream he lets out,
it's haunting.
Gets injured is amazing. Yeah. It's alien but human at the same time. It's really great.
Yeah, and one thing I actually really appreciate about the treatment that they give him in It's Only a Paper Moon is that they follow the sci-fi conceit of you can regrow the limb because it's the 24th century. Of course you can,
but we can't fix headaches. Sorry, you're out of luck.
But that doesn't mean that his pain and his suffering and his trauma is any less real. And I like that identification of it. It's not just the fact that the leg is gone. It's the fact that he went through that pain and he has to deal with that vulnerability and that brush with death. And that acknowledgement, I feel, was really well handled in terms of making it clear that, no, this is not just about the leg. I feel like that was really well handled as well.
That's why our counselors are some of the highest med-rated crew in the game.
Yes, noted. Excellent counselor Esri, whose only noted counseling on screen was nearly driving Garrick to suicide.
Yeah.
He was halfway there anyway,
Put him back in the closet. He's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you talking about? He was never in the closet.
No, he's just
Sorry, we're testing Shyaporn as my replacement. If I can bring this back, that Assimilated LaForge is made for many a fun bridge crew with the armature. For whatever reason, Borg crew, be it EV Suit Wharf or this LaForge, their armature just makes for some great bridge crew photos. So I'm sure you can find a combination that will.
I mean, he gets a few 65% gauntlets as well. Like, he's in the right combination. I think, was it just the one or is it 2? I can't remember.
I think it's 1 or 2. But back in his day, he was kind of the Fury Kess because he had an uncommon skill set. He had really good voyage power. He was really good in gauntlet. And before Fury Kess came along, he would have been one of those crews that I would have pointed at and said, if you have to pick a goal to start the game with, he would be a really good pick.
That being said, it sucks Nog. Come on.
It's Nog. It's absolutely Nog.
I'll go Nog. Okay, let's spin it again. Let's spin. Let's go. Right, give us a noise.
Let's hope we don't get
all right.
with a interesting story, or we'll be here all night.
We'll do one more, then we'll carry on. All right. Okay. Oh,
is that set on bio or met?
That was Geo, actually.
Oh, Geo.
Yeah.
Oh, you spoil us. 0 stars on Admiral Kirk, 4 stars on the Professor, 0 stars on Lieutenant Commander LaForge from First Contact. I think this is pretty easy, but why not finish the Professor or get Kirk? Because Kirk isn't good. Like, in any regard, you're going to get an event with a Kirk in it.
Does that Professor have any actual value at all? Is he in a single collection? Is he an innovator?
They reran his expedition twice, so if we get a fourth version of it, then
no more expeditions, please.
Like, I'm sure he's Voyager 350 now. Like, I think I'd go Kirk here, honestly. Like, I'm pretty sure he's inspiring. He'll get events out the wazoo. Wrath of Khan is amazing. Like, he's holding a copy of Tale of Two Cities, for God's sake. What do you want?
No, the Professor does not have any collections.
However, but he has a few interesting traits because cultural figure, I feel like, has been knocking on the back of my brain for a little while. Like, it's easy thematically to do cultural figure. And then hologram is actually something that was data mined in the game files a while back as possibly coming. And of course, I wonder where that came from, Idle. So they changed course on that. They put out a couple of surprise ones lately, so maybe we never see it. But It's there if you want it.
Idle turns around and you see the blue gill sticking out of his back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just gonna start.
I feel like Idle.
We seek peaceful collections.
I feel like Idle could do a better job with the makeup department, one-man makeup department, than TNG did with that bluegill.
Fantastic. Man, Conspiracy was a good crap.
How
episode.
dare you disparage the work of Michael Westmore?
He did.
I think he did pretty decent on a budget of what, like 5 pence and a can of beans.
No,
like,
I mean,
right.
the real one was like, whatever. It was okay for 1987. But then when Riker beams down with the fake one, it looks like he popped a zit and just let it dry. And it was like, what is that thing?
I also like how these like incredibly advanced aliens that like have like developed the ability to like symbiotically like take over their like hosts. They can't tell it's fake. Never be able to do that. That's ridiculous. But whatever.
Everything looks good here.
Everything's fine. Yeah, don't check this. Don't ask me any questions I would know the answer to. I do love that the professor cannot be called who he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
He cannot be called Professor James Moriarty because the Sherlock Holmes estate are kind of assholes.
But I thought that was all in the public domain.
Yeah, isn't Holmes in the public domain now?
Yeah.
No, so at the time, which would have been 1998. No, 1988, sorry, because it was season 2. I'm pretty sure that those sections of like the final problem and such were not in the public domain. They probably are now. But the Holmes estate are really, really particular about what they'll allow you to use. Like, they tried to sue the latest Netflix Holmes adaptation because it depicted a warmer, more feeling Holmes, and they claimed that that's more in line with how he is in the later stories, which are not yet in the public domain, because they're assholes.
I mean, it's Henry Cavill. You just look at him and get warm feelings. Like you just can't help it, you know.
That's usually my bit, Idle. What are you talking about?
No, I know. You know, it's Henry Cavill. Everyone looks at Henry Cavill and goes,
Swole Holmes.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought I recalled him being called the Professor, Moriarty in game at some point, and then they had to change it. Am I going crazy here?
Before my time.
Maybe someone that's been around longer than me can correct me, but I'm looking through Google now to see if it actually was even called.
I feel like that might be a Mandela effect, or as it happens, a Moriarty effect.
It could be.
I feel like this has got to be an easy Kirk. Like, I know that, like,
I would go
maybe if
Kirk.
you had no crew slots, or you really love Sherlock Holmes, or you love those 2 episodes, which, to be fair, they are great, but he's just useless. I think back when we started the Big Book, he was like in the Voyager 100, but that's a long time ago now.
Oof. Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
There's
way
a
back
lot of
when.
crew.
He was a decent dip Voyager when it started.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an easy one. Oh, hang on.
So much like with Jeopardy, LeVar Burton is ignored.
Oh, that is such a crime.
Dude, he would be the single best choice for that. It's such a blatant snub. Like, I can't even. And not mention, I love that Geordie. I love the art on him because I love the cybernetic implant and makeup because they finally allowed him to emote with his eyes. You know, that thing that LeVar Burton has in abundance, gorgeous, beautiful eyes. And then they give him this, which is like one of the worst cards in the entire game. It's just such a shame.
I consulted the Big Book of Collections, and since Innovator only needs 4 gold crew to finish, he would not be the top of the list for that.
There you go. Okay, let's talk about this week's event. Or no, sorry, next week's event. The crew that has come out as part of the flashback reward. Season 3 of Disco's very own villain, Osyraa, Sec Command Diplomacy.
Someday I want to see the little hamster wheel that runs around in Idle's brain and see how that works.
It's more like waiting for the awkward pauses where I go, right, they finished talking crap, right, move it on, next section. Rally you lot into I'm the sheepdog to the sheep here. Like, okay. Anyway, so Osyraa, the legendary crew for the event following Dirty Rotten Holograms, which is she is the event reward for Dirty Rotten Holograms, which is the 3rd time that has been run. I had to check my own notes for that. We were having this argument last week. Looking at again, we're moving away from talking about Voyage ranks, but she's Voyage rank 64, which is that's okay, but. And I'm sure you guys will tell me more why you don't want her, because Why?
Because she is set Command Voyage at number 12.
Well, there you go.
And I'm pretty sure that in any other combination, maybe even DipSec, that would be like number 3 with these numbers. This is not a crew you need.
So here's a fun fact about her. She is pretty much identical to High Roller Cisco in terms of skill pairing and void power. And even the same in the triplets. Because I was having a conversation with an Ineffable who runs the data core, and she was saying, well, I've got a different rank because her and High Roller Cisco with the rounding error were sort of appearing in the same sort of block, so they were coming up as different void scores. So, but there are numerous reasons why he is still the boss.
So the first week that you removed Command Ip Suck from my intro is the week that we get a Command Ip Suck event.
Clearly Idle made this happen.
It's always one of us, isn't it? If it's not auto, it's yeah.
So no one grabbed High Roller Cisco for Voyages. You grabbed him because he was a number 1 base. He had lots of juicy trades. He got events, and oh yeah, he's pretty good on Voyages. But that no one got him because he's a Voyager, and oh yeah, he has the top base in the game. So there are a couple traits there. As I wait for my. By the way, does anyone else have this bug where I feel like half the people in the game don't get these new crew added to the vault right away, and half the people do?
Hmm.
And
I'm not of the crew that I'm not a person who checks the vault regularly, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
Some people have to restart the client. It doesn't show up for me until like 2 hours later for some reason. I'm not sure why. But because I was going to look up her trait list. I know Orion and Criminal, and I think Criminal and Villain are the only ones that really are interesting out of that whole list.
Yeah, no, I think we were breaking down exactly what she was actually useful for, and it's pretty much Criminal is, if we get Criminal Mega, then she will be one of the top 3 options for most of her skills. Villain, she'll be okay, but I remember on some of her skills that she didn't even appear on the first page on Data Core, which is not usually a good sign. And the thing is, like, this is a bit of an odd treatment to give a character that I don't think a lot of people are going to get on her own merits, because I like Discovery Season 3 a lot, but I don't think I would call Osyraa the highlight of it. She was, I think, a decent villain, but she's not exactly amazing. She was competent at what she was portrayed as. But
her attempts at diplomacy with the Federation having failed, Osyraa hijacks the USS Discovery and attacks Federation HQ.
So this is kind of like
solid write-up.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. I mean, that's kind of the turning point from where she turned from, because she starts a bit sort of like, I am the notorious evil villain, I am here to foil all the good guys' plans. And then kind of they had that conversation with Admiral Vance where they start talking about diplomacy, and you start thinking, oh, okay, there's some nuance here. There's a bit of sort of political thing with the Emerald Chain. There's a bit, and then she suddenly goes, no, this didn't work. Fuck it, I'm going to blow them all up. Ha ha! And there's a bit like, oh.
But so here's the thing. She is a bit of a cardboard cutout, and she is a little bit of a very, very stock Trek villain. But I absolutely fucking love the conversation she has with Vance, because
it's shit.
That conversation, it's
not the conversation.
Not just because of what it adds to, like, you know, Vance's character and like your understanding of the Federation in this time period. But I absolutely love watching the climb down, because she goes from the leader of her people. She wants to appear as this enlightened diplomat, as this great person of her age, as this pioneer who was making the effort to reach out. And Vance is like, okay, prove it and sacrifice yourself for the good of your people. And you see her think about it for all of 2 seconds, and she's like, no.
No, I can blow you up.
Because that would affect me.
Yeah,
I don't like it when things happen to me.
Yeah. It's the same moment.
And I love that.
Yeah. It's the same moment that Kira has with Kai Wynn, right? When Kira's like, oh, it's so
Step
great
down.
that you're going to step down as Kai. She's like, what? No, why would I do that?
Exactly. I love that character archetype so much, where it's like, they walk the walk and they talk the talk for so long, and then it comes to the edge and it's like no, and they just turn around, and I love that. It's very, very human. I love it. I feel like that does a lot to elevate her character in my mind, because otherwise she's kind of like terrible at her job. But that's stock in trade for Trek villains.
So what do you think about the art? Because this is unusual for Timeline's art, and with a character standing perfectly to the side rather than sort of looking on or looking sort of center off. She is like, this is going to be a bridge crew highlight for some people, sort of just being able to aim a gun at somebody's head for the ride. So this is, it's different. I kind of like the art for doing something a little bit sort of out of the normal.
It is a bit more dynamic than usual. I feel like you could pair her with first episode of Chekhov to make it look like she's about to blow his finger off.
Or Shan,
and it
Archer.
is
or
Shan, big one. Yeah, I feel like this is like quite evocative, which is the thing I look for most in art, where this immediately makes me think of the interesting gun/melee fight she has with Burnham in the computer core for the Discovery. We had some interesting stuff going on. It was like I liked it, and I do think this is an interesting pose, but it is not what I think of when I think of Osyraa. I think of her basically kind of like posturing on the view screen, basically, which is a bit more. This feels like it would have been a variant, if anything. Like we would have gotten standard Osyraa, and then this would have come later. But I like it. It's trying something new, which I appreciate. And for the same kind of reason that I think people liked Klingon West, is that a bit of dynamism with the pose really helps. And if someone wanted to go for her based on art alone, I could see the logic. I could see that. Yeah.
There have been people pounding the table for character looking left, character looking right collections for a long time. So
pointing collections.
It's not the first one to do it, but we have been whining a little bit about the dead-on stare, especially with Crushers for whatever reason. So maybe someone heard that and said, "All right, we'll mix it up a little bit."
Yeah, no, like I kudos to the art department. I think it's a really interesting thing. I kind of hope that they can do it more. It's just a case of it's not immediately what I think of, but guess what? Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's good to subvert expectations.
But hey, it comes along a line of events where we're looking at a crew that we don't want and just kind of going, oh, thank God.
Yeah, no, this does feel like a bit of guys, don't worry, you can take this week off, because you get Klingon West and then you come to this. It's like, is it even a... Is this even a conversation?
This last month has been like what it has been: Dexa, Human Saru, Adira to some degree, and then Klingon West, along with, and they're just like 4 weeks of just pure carnage, along with Barry Waddle and getting the stars for that, and they're just suddenly going, Deco Kira, okay, people might still want to go for the costume, and then go, Osyraa. You can actually feel it kind of going up, and then Osyraa, just Osyraa. That could be a phrase if you want to calm down. Osyraa.
Osyraa now.
Just to chill out.
I feel a little bit.
Osyraa, I barely know it. Huh?
Oh. Thank you.
That's one that I usually pull out. So that's impressive for a young man.
You're rubbing off on me. Don't worry. Thank you, Shy. I appreciate that.
Speaking of rubbing off, I feel a little bit naked because my background is not terribly spectacular. Yeah, you like my segues, don't you? We have Mr. LCARS Idol in the background, which he showed us once. We got a tour of the room, the charity stream with stars, and now we have a warm, toasty fire. Which, by the way, I called Shy a bastard earlier because he shows up in a tie, and us schlubs are like, "Hey, it's Wednesday. Let's show up and do our show."
What's this whole thing?
I wear this to bed, fuckers. It's like,
It's that scene of 30 Rock, isn't it? They're interviewing I forget what his name is, the guy that Alec Baldwin plays. He's like walks in wearing a tux. Like, why are you wearing a tux? It's like, well, it's gone 6. Don't you wear a tux?
Right. I mean, I am wearing the traditional pajama bottoms.
Okay.
In
validation.
And they actually are in honor of Janet Kidder's auntie. Margot Kidder.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is, for those that know, this is the niece of Margot Kidder, who I didn't know anything about until someone reliably, i.e. Shy, told us about before. It was Lois Lane from the 70s Superman, is that right?
Yeah, the 1978 Richard Donner Superman.
There you go.
You will believe a man can fly. Was that not a big thing in England?
Superman isn't really.
I mean, I watched the film on ITV probably once when I was about 9, but I don't remember any of the actors. I know of the Superman who he had a lot of unfortunate things in his life and passed away. What was his name? The guy that played Superman.
Well, there's a George Reeves.
Christopher Reeves. That's
Christopher
the one.
Reeves.
Yep.
Yes.
There's actually a curse because a lot of people who played Superman have had ill things happen to them.
Oh no!
And if you saw pictures, you would see Shyaporn standing in the background of all of them right before disaster.
You stay away from Henry Cavill.
Shai's actually a salt-sucking M113 creature that has existed for millennia. But he's joined our show today, so that's fantastic.
What's in the drink today? It's just salt water.
Sugar and water.
Also appearing
Hold on, but before we go on, I had a note passed to me in class by Paul Needenchat, aka Rev Damar. Linked me an article letting us know that LeVar Burton, one Geordie LaForge, will be guest hosting, which I think was already announced before, or was it just campaigning? He will be guest hosting Jeopardy. He has a 2-week stint coming in summer, so I don't think they have the date announced yet, but if you love LeVar Burton and reading Rainbow and Jeopardy and all those good and educational things, keep an eye out for that in summer.
So also thinking about... Sorry, go on.
Nothing. I was just applauding that.
Nobody does segues like Brexton.
Oh yes, you should. If Shy, please plug your stuff because you've got a SoundCloud with some amazing parody stuff, and your YouTube channel is full of all sorts of delightful videos. They really
sing, monkey, sing.
I encourage.
I do one show a day.
I encourage everyone to go and check it out. But please, tell us more about it while you're here. Plug. This is your room to plug.
That's it. I'm Shyaporn on YouTube. If you want to look up my videos, once upon a time I had a thriving YouTube channel, and then I stopped.
One day when the Fire Nation attacked? Like what?
Exactly. I'm slowly getting back into it. I've been doing these mashups of different TV intros. Like I mashed up Discovery with the old Buck Rogers in the 25th century intro, since they just stole that storyline for the 3rd season.
Yeah, true.
It's fine. Don't worry. Don't look at it too closely.
I just threw his channel in the description of the video, so those of you who are awake and watching us still, you can scroll down and click that link. And
the Godzilla video is probably my favorite, but he has tons of quality content on there.
You had an interview recently with where you were talking about Star Trek versus Star Wars for a recent sort of charity stream, didn't you?
They're Night Toronto.
Right. I do a series of fake science lectures. The technology of Star Trek versus Star Wars is one. Godzilla biology, history, biology, and behavior of hyper-evolved theropod kaiju is the name of that lecture. And then I have a lecture on how to become Batman. So, and I'm currently writing a lecture on the biology and political structure of Aquaman.
Fantastic.
And Atlantis. Yeah.
Is the Batman one just step one, get rich?
No, the step one is have your parents murdered in an alley.
Oh, okay.
That is step one. Yeah. I had a kid ask me after one of the lectures, like, what he could do to become Batman.
You just gave him a gun and looked at your parents like,
I said, is that your dad?
Chopping block.
And now you know why we didn't promote his stuff until the 2nd hour of Timeline's Talks.
Is it only the 2nd hour?
You want to be an orphan?
I know, time drags when you're on Timeline's Talks, doesn't it?
Timelines drags. Okay, so other crew features in this week's event are...
I just pictured Idol in a wig for Timeline's Drags.
Give it time, I'll be there.
We just have to find the right bit of TNG for him to star in. There we go.
It'll have to be something with Pulaski so I can get the big bouffant going.
How about that awful scene where she has to tell a freaking medic how to make a splint in the 24th century?
Other crew in this week's event you might have some interest in. Before you guys segue me out of this, we're also playing host to Time Loop Mud and Grathon Tolar, who I believe we've spoken about them on this show before. We won't linger too long. Time Loop Mud is EV Suit. If you do not have him, grab him. Grathon, Tolar, someone please... I have been out of the loop on Super Rare Crew in terms of how good they are, but he was at one point an engineering boss, if I'm not correct.
A base power, but not Voyage. He was never a great Voyager.
The reason we may have talked about him before is because we've been going on this show for almost a year, and in fact, we have a 1-year anniversary coming up on the 12th of May, and we have a few special things planned for that.
Yeah, we better make them. We say that now.
Wait, we're doing something special?
We may have something prepared. I didn't promise any. Yeah, Tolar was the number one engine base for quite a while until my boy Chakotay, knocked him off by like 50 points. So now he's pretty much trash crew. And unless we get that criminal mega that you guys are talking about.
What is your deal with Chakotay?
I just love.
I'm so glad you asked. I've been meaning to say for a year now.
Look, I've been watching this for almost a year, and I'm like, why?
Some people like Sulu. Some people like Chakotay. It is what it is.
Yeah, but Sulu isn't played by a Mexican guy.
I didn't say I like everything about his backstory. I just like the Chakotay character.
Akuchi Moya, we are far from the fragmented native the bones of our ancestors.
Okay, what is the...
Akuchi Maya, right. We are far from the point of this stream.
There is no point of the stream. All right,
okay.
What is the name? What is the Voyager Lower Decks episode? I'm going to Google it now.
Good Shepherd.
No,
yeah,
not
Good
that
Shepherd.
Got
one.
me confused. That was
Not
like,
that
wait.
one. The one where Tuvok takes the...
Oh, it's like first season.
No, that's a different one. No, the Good Shepherd is the Janeway Lower Decks episode.
Yes, I know. It's the Tuvok episode.
Oh, Learning Curve.
Yeah, that's one.
Curve.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So
where he has the 3 Marquee that he has to take care of, including Chell, the star of Elite Force.
And I guess there's 4 of them. There's a scene in there where crewman Dolby is running his mouth off.
Yeah.
He's in the mess hall, and they're like, "We're not gonna jump through any Starfleet hoops." And then the Chakotay comes in because he's been informed by Janeway that they're acting up on the ship, and we can't have that on the prim and proper season 1 tight bun Star Trek Voyager. So he goes in there and he says, "All right, give me your version." Chakotay says, "Give me your version of what happened." He goes, "We're not going to jump through Starfleet hoops." He's giving off attitude. We didn't have to do that on the Maquis. So Chakotay goes, "All right, you want to do the things the way we did on the Maquis?" And he reaches over and he punches him in the face. He goes, "We did that too in the Maquis. Are you going to behave for Tuvok?" He grabs him by his lapel and answers him. He says, "What? I didn't hear you. How does a crewman answer his question?" Like, "Fuck yes, Chakotay. Yes." That's like, that was the best Chakotay. I wanted them to tap into that Chakotay because from then on...
Yeah, if it had been more of that, it would have been great. Yeah,
I know. All we get is him and Janeway arguing ethics and Scorpion parables, like in ready rooms and stuff. And I'm like, no, this dude left Starfleet. He was a badass. He commanded the crew of rebels. Have him behave like a rebel. So that scene was like, that made me fall in love with Chakotay, because who does that on Federation ships and gets away with it? Only Chakotay. So
it's true. He's too instantly the perfect first officer for having been a rogue Maquis officer.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So
I feel like they tapped into it like maybe once a season after that point, like something like the Equinox, like 2-parter, where they tapped into the fact that he will not just say yes to everything that Janeway goes about, especially because she needs that, and that's the point of a first officer. But then it feels like they definitely did back it off, and they wanted him to be a bit softer, because you get his rebellion comes out more in case of, he never accepted his grandfather's thing about his ancestry and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, this is the other. What about the other kind of rebellion where he was like, "Fuck the Federation"? What about that? And they're like, we didn't really want to talk about that. We abandoned that plotline. Don't worry about it.
By the way, I need to clarify something, just because I know Americans have this might have this onus of some Americans have issues with people from Mexico. That wasn't my issue with Robert Bell.
He's a fucking Mexican. I don't want him on my TV.
They brought in a fake Native American consultant to help write this character.
You would not be the first person to make a racial slur on this show. Don't worry.
Oh, great. Yeah, but they're just Greeks.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to build a DMZ and we're going to make the Maquis pay for it.
Oh, God. That joke's 4 years too late. Okay, let's move on to the Tuesday pack this week, featuring WRG's favourite crew of all time, Mr. Travis Mayweather, now in an EV suit, looking real
I thought we were going to stick this at the end of the show, just because.
No, I'm going to do it now because I want this.
Mayweather gets the.
Just shoot me in the head now and just get it over and done with, because this is. Yeah, great. He's in a collection now. But it's another Mayweather. Like, they already had the whole, the 1,000th crew's going to be, and we tease out of him, it's going to be Mako Mayweather, and all of our faces just went, really?
Really?
No.
Really? But then it wasn't because they forgot how to count.
Has anyone first to maxed him? I'll be surprised if they have by now.
Honestly, I would adore it if we checked back in a week and still hadn't been first to max. I know that it's unrealistic, but I kind of love it. So for context, this Mayweather comes from, I think it's like episode 5, season 1 of Enterprise, where he and Malcolm go down onto, I believe, one of the largest comets ever observed by either a Vulcan or a human science team, and they basically take some samples. And Mayweather decides to take this time to make a snowman and give it Vulcan ears. And that's why you might notice he has the artist trait, because that is high artistry. This is also noted as one of the very first instances in which Archer tries to actively kill his crew.
Can I give you a little anecdote about this episode? So many years ago, like back in the early 2000s, I used to have a little bit of insomnia, and I used to have a videotape with like the first 8. It was like long play videotape. You used to have like the first 8 episodes of Enterprise on it, and I would always fall asleep just as this episode got about a quarter of the way through, because it was always just, it is the dullest episode. Like, they find a comet, they land on the comet, they build a snowman, a Vulcan comes up and is a bit of a dick. They fall through. They're like, nothing happens. It's just the most pointless episode. And now
I literally remember the pineapple. I remember the pineapple.
Oh, that was that one as well. Yes, he's got a bromelain.
No, that's a different episode. I think that's a different episode. But I remember that more than anything that happened here.
He has a bromelain allergy. He's allergic to something the pineapple contains.
That's the one where Reed's getting allergy shots.
Yeah, so he can enjoy pineapple, and then it's like the great TOS, like everybody laughs send off is, how did you know? Oh, it's like, Hoshi, you were prying into this man's backstory and finding out he's the most boring man in Starfleet.
Even his
don't act like this was some incredible. Yeah, no, his parents are like, If
you talk about my kids, like, I want to know everything about them, and like, you phone up his parents, and they're just like, well, he's just Malcolm. That's who he is.
He's very good at his job.
Yes. No, come on.
I don't know, man. They will like interview serial killers' parents, and they're like, he was such a sweet boy. He always helped his classmates in school. I'm like, maybe there's something to Malcolm Reed then.
If there was something about Malcolm Reed, yeah, serial killer would be high up on there. But yeah.
Well, to be fair, if he was a serial killer, at least put those impulses in the right direction.
So that's how good this crew is. We're actually talking about a different character from a different episode and what happens in that.
Yeah, basically.
I have another tangent / loose-ended tie-up. So we already referenced / gently picked on people who fall asleep during the show, and I only just realized Shyaporn is one of them. He sent me a message 6 weeks ago that said, I just listened to the end of your podcast where you asked if older listeners listen in order to fall asleep, which I missed on Wednesday because I fell asleep. So I'm glad you could stay up for this one, Shy.
I'm asleep right now.
His eyes are drawn onto his eyelids.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's actually like a drawn-on like mask or something.
It was all a hologram all along.
He is one of 12 artists in game, which I always like those tiny niche traits because, I mean, maybe if nothing ever happens, but it's just cool that you have one of the few crew in game. So the last one was Wyatt Miller, and another recent one was Off-Duty Janice Rand.
Oh.
So there you go. That's the best thing we can say about him.
Well, this is another. He's actually very similar to Osyraa in the respect of he is just a crew from the previous Mega done worse, because we just had Zahi and Adira, who has better voyage stats, is currently appearing in Discovery and will get more variants, has instant damage, which I didn't even realize until I was slotting them into my ship setup, and will age far better because they're costumed. Whereas Mayweather is EV suit and we're done.
But now you need 25 EV suit crew.
Need is such a strong word.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no! Hold my wallet
forget,
back.
Forget credits. Collections are now become the driving force in our lives, right?
Well, yeah. This is it. Is whether you I think collections have now gone up there with Voyagers in terms of like people's priorities. But yeah, it's even. But for a Tuesday pack, like no, it's. I don't know.
Now is this
The fact that we've had 3 Mayweathers in 6 packs is fucking astounding to me because we've had EV suit. Tactical Mako and Mountain Climber debuted in the 6 pack. Like, what is the
They don't want to put them in events because no one would play it.
No, it's because of who is it on the show? The charity, the WRG guy who's a big Enterprise fan. Is it Joe?
Probably Joe. Carmen?
No,
It's either Joe or Carmen. Yeah, it's Carmen.
Yeah,
Carmen's doing it.
Yeah. This is okay.
art where they just took his head from another piece of art and stuck it in a helmet.
Yeah, there's very
It's
similar.
just similar.
No,
We were having this conversation, and I think we ended up deciding that Anthony Montgomery just looks like that when he smiles.
No, this one is Ensign Mayweather and Tuskegee Mayweather have the copy paste. This one is very similar, but they had a few wrinkle lines here and there, so it is a little different.
See, here they should have put him in profile or something along those lines.
Well, they should have had the snowman in shot.
The snowman, exactly.
Which is you can.
I love the art
snowman.
with props. Like
You do equip the snowman in his item build. I have seen that. So.
And he's got his little Vulcan ears. Oh, we need to find out. Has anyone like built him like in the chat? I know you guys haven't, because why would you? Does his like Vulcan snowman require edicts? Like, does it require the little Vulcan faction items? I really want it to. That would be fun.
And that's the best thing.
Fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Anyway.
No, he doesn't require any edicts to build.
Oh.
Damn it. Lame.
Even more disappointing than he already is. Okay.
My disappointment is immeasurable. My day is ruined and idle. The only way it could be assuaged is if you show everyone my shittily done meme.
Oh yes, you did send me that. So yes, this is something Stars sent me.
The segues
about,
on this show
are so good, aren't they?
That'll go in the compilation.
You're going to have to explain this one to me because I haven't seen said show in reference. So please ruin the joke by explaining it.
Oh, I haven't either. I haven't seen Always Sunny, but I know this meme.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty sure it's just like it's just a portrait of some guy, and they literally just like, I've had enough of this dude. And like, I saw Mayweather in another 6-pack, and I was like, you know what, I've got to very quickly do this because we've seen a lot of Mayweather over the past 6 months for whatever goddamn reason.
This is the future of the show. When we run out of content, we're just going to rerun old jokes as memes. And sell them as NFTs.
We'll just call it Shades of Grey every episode.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I know we're joshing around and stuff, but is anyone actively offended by the amount of Mayweathers? Because I feel like, maybe you could add the 34th Picard or whatever, but let's give Mayweather a little love too.
Esri has 1 gold variant.
There are a lot.
Mayweather has
like one
4.
season. She has 1 season. How many seasons does he have? 4. So 4-1.
I think he actually has like 0.5 if you go by character development.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually speak in entirety of season 4. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
No, he has that subplot with that spy who's like, I totally wasn't only boning with you to get the espionage.
God, I hate that. All right, I agree. Now let's get rid of him. I don't
Voyager. Didn't Harry Kim have a very similar plot? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but she didn't.
No, he had the
like,
sex vampires. That wasn't.
Oh, that's completely different.
That's Teresian Kim. No, it's the one where they try to fix the generational ship, and he and Tall sleep together, and he starts glowing or whatever. Yeah,
I watched that episode just recently. It's all right. It's all right.
He stood up to Janeway more than Chakotay did in the last 6 seasons.
Okay, yeah. Well, I will give you that. I do love the bit on. This is a trope that I love in Star Trek. And it only really happens in Star Trek. I don't know if it happens more in military shows. It's where like you spent all this time building up this air on the bridge of the captain is the commanding presence, says the final word. And then every now and then you get that one person who is like, no, or I disagree, or start shouting on the bridge, and they just whip around and they're like, in my ready room. I love that trope so much because it's like, Especially if they're a bit of a soft touch, like Janeway sometimes can be. It's nice to suddenly see the iron spine just click into place. And it's like, no, you fucked up, get in my ready room right now.
Yeah, it's good, but like the worst they ever do is chew them out and then they let them go. The reason it doesn't happen in military shows is because they would ream their ass out and they would be like scrubbing the latrine with a toothbrush if they did that.
I will correct you. It did happen one time in Voyager, and actually, there's the most progression there's ever been. But was when Paris got demoted. And there was a whole episode, was it? So that actually did get. There was a full.
And then he got re-promoted over Harry somehow.
Yeah, what is that?
He shows initiative, okay?
The fact that Harry is even like, oh, I wonder if a pip will ever appear on my thing. Like, Tuvok might as well have like reached over him with a phaser and shot him when he asked that question for the amount of play it gets. Christ.
I want to see a deleted scene where Harry comes to work one day and there's a little box on his console and he looks around, he looks left and right, and he opens it up and there's a little pip for his collar. And he gets excited and then he looks over and Tuvok is laughing his ass off because he planted it. I would watch the hell out of that. I'm sorry. I just had the picture in my head now, and that's hilarious.
Knowing that Tim Russ is an inveterate like prankster, I bet you they probably played with that.
Definitely. Okay, stars this week. Okay, this is for you. This is all your moment. Last week, Otto had 7 imaginary crew from the depths of his imaginations to bring to us. Stars, it's been your week. You've actually come up with a few people of your own. Would you like to display them? First up, Protomorphosis Troi. And bear in mind, people in chat, these are not crew coming to the game. This is all from the depths of the imagination of crew we want to come to the game. So, and you've given them imaginary stats and all this, blah, blah, blah. Protomorphosis Troi.
Yeah, so this was the only one I actually got from a chat request. I think everyone sort of like missed the request, or like nothing came to mind immediately. So this is scrubbed out of what I wanted, what the one request from chat, and some suggestions from friends. So I kind of struggled here because she doesn't really do very much in the episode apart from sort of flap about in a bathtub and then complain about the weather, the temperature on the bridge. So I kind of had to improvise a bit. So shippability of ribosciatic flux, because that's literally the only dialogue associated with her scene. I think if we were going to get this crew, the only thing that would make her interesting would be if she actually had the bathtub as part of her art, so you could build props with it. I feel like that would be fun.
I hope they're saving that for Janeway and the bathtub. You know,
like bathtub
when Q comes and harasses her, remember? And she's like,
"Oh yeah."
Oh, that's a different show. I was going to say she says I'm running out of bubbles, but I'm mixing my shows. Sorry.
Oh, is that the one where he kisses her foot?
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, yeah. Yeah, no, I kind of struggle with this one because she literally just like hangs out in the bathtub and is like, and then it goes back in. So this is my attempt at making her interesting. Diplomacy med. I'm guessing that there's something diplomatic about the glob 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 of an aquatic creature, I suppose. She's primal. She is definitely primal.
Yeah, so I noticed that because it's consistent with the other. With Barclay.
I think they're the only ones that actually have it, apart from maybe Mugato. I think Mugato
there
has
are 9 crew with it.
9 crew.
That's
enough for an event.
Mother Horta, Lizard, Janeway, the Protomorphosis crew, Mugato, Ripper, Lokek, Sato.
Ah, perfect.
It's nearly artist in size.
That's prestigious. That's a prestigious bonus pool. I ain't got anything else to say about her. She's a fish.
And you're muted.
Hello. No, I'm not.
Hello.
I didn't say anything.
Damn it, I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, no, it would have improved the quality of the show immeasurably.
Oh, okay. Next week you can host.
Next week's Timeless Talks has been cancelled in advance.
Are we ready to move on? Your next crew.
Yes, indeed. My next crew.
Scalar. Common. Bold move.
So, I actually really like this episode, and I really like Scalar because he is the first sort of step that Enterprise does towards giving Tellarites a lot of depth because they don't really get a lot of play in any of the other series. And they don't get a ton in Enterprise. They mostly get a play for the Andorians. But his story is basically he's like a bounty hunter who's trying to claim the bounty on Archer because the Klingons don't like him because no one likes Archer. And his end game essentially is that he wants to buy back a freighter that he and his brother basically sort of like made from like the keel haul up, and that's where his ship quote comes from because he retrofitted the engines himself, and so therefore he's a bit of an engineer. He really loves the ship, and the real sort of I got really emotional during this bit because he describes it in such loving detail, and then he finds out from his brother that the entire thing got like torn apart by like a station master, and like there's nothing left of it, and he's like distraught. And like, even though his brother is telling me I never want you to contact him again, I felt like sadder about the ship. I don't know why he's Sek Eng Dipek.
It's a Tellarite translation of diplomacy. Also known as a typo.
I feel like keeping it. Typo. Right, yes, a typo. Yeah. We don't have a single Tellarite in the game, and I wanted to have at least one, and him being common, I feel like I want everyone to have a Tellarite. And I think we even had someone I know requested them from our on WRG Q&A at one point, and I wanted to put this out to address that. I feel like we definitely could have a lot more though. Like we could have the Tellarite Admiral from Discovery, the ambassadors from like the 3-parter with the Anar and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of Tellarites you get in there, but
the short trek with Android Mud as well.
Yeah, no, and Journey's Babel is obviously I would love to see how they would handle the really bad makeup on the TOS Tellarites, because and then the pig nose, where it's even more egregious than usual.
Is it the problem that the Tellarite estate won't allow Tellarites to be in the game?
So
little known fact: Tellarites have an amazing like legal system. It's incredible.
Actually, there might be a claim against them from Twilight Zone because I think they did the pig nose people too. So.
Robert Kaiser points out it should be a Tellaripo.
Very good work, thank you.
Why isn't he on the show? This is way better than my material.
I know. We're going to grandfather Robert in as one
I
of the
said my
hosts.
material. Your material's been great. We sub you in for Idle.
Again, you can host the show if you like. I can sit in the background and push the buttons. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you is how would you introduce a common crew to the game?
Well, I feel like they have introduced a few, because the common is grey, right? They haven't introduced a single new one.
Well,
the only one I can think of is Stargazer Picard, and they added him to the honor hall. So I'm not sure the Sklar is honor hall worthy.
No, I think maybe like I would probably like throw him into the threshold rewards for maybe a Tellarite and like Andorian Mega, like just have like a founding races of the Federation type Mega. I feel like that'd be a nice unifying theme and throw him in there. It'd be nice, along with some other Tellarite crew.
Just put him in the portal and don't tell anyone.
I've got this random crew come out of nowhere.
What the fuck? Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying you could call it a Coalition of Planets collection. Just have the founding.
Another excuse to drag out COP Picard and...
Then you can throw all your original...
Oh yeah, these last 2 years of picking him in beholds.
My idea on par with the quad faction event would be a temporary achievement where the first threshold gets you a new common crew, the next one a new uncommon crew and up. But people would hate that because they're like, it's -5 crew slots. Maybe if they gave us 5 crew slots to go with it, it would be fun.
Yeah, debut at the same time as a slot sale or something like that. That'd be a good idea.
A common crew is not a crew slot is not a crew slot lost because you just immortalize them, they're gone. Like you're not adding stars to it anywhere or cementing it.
In fact, you know what, Idle? You should have a unique perspective on this crew because you were doing Nightmare mode. How would he help? Would he be of any use to you?
Sec Eng would be very nice. I think just for the sort of like that voyage combination, because you can through Nightmare mode get up to episode 10 with just Grey Crew. You can get 2-hour voyages. So he would, if you were interested in doing the Nightmare mode, he would be very useful. He would be certainly a unique, because a lot of the common crew sort of like combinations are pretty standard across.
A lot of them are one skillers,
Or they're one, exactly, they're one skillers. So you sort of you're hindered there somewhat. Only if you're really insane should you do Nightmare mode. How's your Nightmare mode going, Shy? Sorry, Aldo.
It's going well. I'm only 3 or 4 grays short
Nice.
of progressing to my green crew finally. But it's interesting because in playing Nightmare Mode on an alt, I went back and sort of filled in some gray and green crew on other alts because I realized that they were filling more and more collections, which is of course the theme of your show.
Our show, comrade.
It feels good.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
One of us. One of us.
So I got Nightmare Mode. I got up to, I'm not playing it anymore, but I got up to greens and started going greens, and then like you've been playing in this sort of deficient sort of grey crew for ages, and you get your first green crew, and like, oh my god, they got 3 skills. Oh my god, they got hundreds in the bases. I was like, oh my god, they can do this mission really well.
An embarrassment of riches.
Technician Ram is a monster. I didn't know that.
Really good. He's so.
I mean, it kills me not to be able to do weekend dailies fully
yeah.
on the Nightmare Mode because you need the rare crew. But
I had to stop. It wasn't doing me. It wasn't good for my health. But I applaud you for carrying on.
You were just staring at those like Sunday and Saturday like missions like a hungry man staring in a butcher's shop.
Just airlocking.
None of this is good for our health.
Yeah, no, it's not good for you. Can't recommend.
Bon appetit. Anyway.
So as I'm looking through his traits, I realize there are no common crafty crew. Because I'm thinking about void seeding and such. Because antimatter is important when you can't load up the skills. And it makes me think, how come teenager Nog doesn't have the crafty trait?
Yeah, he was literally like craftily working his way through that the broken down part of the station in order to get that yeah.
So anyway, add that
trait audit.
Plays every time you.
Okay, next one.
When you update your stream deck, we need something for traits.
I forgot I had those things. How about...
We know.
There's nothing here but worthless gold.
There we go. Captain Trip Tucker.
Right. So, I wanted to give Trip a decent card because all of them are shit. Pretty much all of them are garbage. Like, the best one in terms of golds is what, like, fake Tucker on the ropes. I'm pretty sure that's the or maybe North Star Tucker. They're both equally kind of bad. So I gave him sort of like he's not the best Voyager, but I wanted to make sure he is a hero because he is a hero in my heart. This is from Twilight, incidentally. And we have a few crew from that episode, but I didn't want to call him Twilight Tucker because they kind of shy away from no, don't you even talk about
like Tuckerware? What do we call it? I don't know.
It's my own line of Tuckerware.
Oh, you know what? I was mocking up another crew, and I found out that we've been misquoting Trip this entire time. He does not say I was a perfect gentleman.
Does he not?
I was a complete gentleman.
Oh, okay.
A whole gentleman.
A whole gentleman.
A total
100% of a gentleman. So I wanted to give him like a decent card. So Command Eng, like I wanted to give him something a little bit more interesting. And his ship quote comes from the context of in the episode. He's in command of the Enterprise because Archer has lost his marbles and T'Pol is basically taking care of him. And they find a Euridian information dealer who is basically spying on them. And he basically threatens to slice that ship into neat little pieces if they don't tell him exactly.
That's the only Iridian I know is James Cromwell.
No, it isn't, but it is the same race. You are thinking of the exact same race, which we also don't have. Leisure Suit Tucker is the only 5-star I finished yet, and he's also awful. So I think we'd do a decent trip. I think we'd do a decent one.
I just passed on Tucker on the ropes recently because I thought, I can finish the originals collection without him, and then they expanded it like a week later. So I'm like, oh, I wish I had that Tucker.
North Star.
What is that about Trip's name that just trips us all up?
You just want to go straight to the end, don't you? Just get out of the way. North Star Tuckers. He's got costumed. He's got Wild West. He is some gauntlet use. I would probably sort of say he's better than Tucker on the Ropes because I forgot Tucker on the Ropes was a thing until you mentioned it. So.
All right, I have one quibble with this card, and that is that I would make him a command primary because I feel like crew, when they get the chance to do something outside their normal day-to-day operations, we really should highlight that. So command primary for him as the captain would be great.
I feel like that's a fair criticism, but it's just a case of like I feel like for most people, if I were actually making this group, I would want them to get a nice big Eng base because they're not exactly common in terms of like in good quality. Like there's a lot of bad like top 10 Eng bases, for example. Like
I was just going to segue to like away team Sulu was command primary last week, and I wanted to get Shai's opinion on it, but he disappeared into the void.
it's literally like shit's passing in night. I don't quite get it.
Oh, well, when he rewatches this, he'll realize that he missed the conversation of a lifetime.
When he wakes up.
Yeah, conversation.
Okay, next crew, Enraptured Cisco. Is this because of the Picard Season 2 trailer that made you think of this?
A little bit. I was thinking, but I also really love this episode because it allows Avery Brooks like some really interesting dramatic range because he gets to basically play as if he's half in one place, half in another, and it's a very different mode to how he is in Far Beyond the Stars because in that he's a lot more lucid. Here he is full on like mixing his worlds and his time periods. And I really liked this art, like this picture I found for him. I wanted, because when I think of this episode, I think of him in the holodeck, looking up at that obelisk that they find in the abandoned city, like on Bajor, and the way he looks at it is just like with this utter romance, and I really like that. I also made sure to give him a shit ton of traits because Cisco's always do.
I was just going to say, I just counted him. He has 13 traits that would be in any other crew.
And I apologise.
Yeah,
I've given him the diplomat trait. Diplomat. I've given him the I forget the name of the country now. New Zealand diplomat trait. The diplomat.
Okay, I lied. It's 13 is tied with Mintak and Troi for them.
Oh wow.
So.
Yeah, I know that was going to be a Spock or a Troi with like a billion traits. He would be an amazing collection piece. I also decided to try something a bit different with his ship ability. So if you notice, like it's just like a standard accuracy boost, but it also triggers at 4 seconds, and it will negate all damage for 3 seconds.
So you're killing all the sort of 400% boosters, are you?
Yes, like if you were to place him on your ship and to manually do this, you would be able to trigger him fast enough that you would dodge all of these 6 seconds, so your Achilles and stuff like that. And I wanted to tie that back thematically to the fact that this is the episode where he basically ruins the diplomatic talks between Bajor and the Federation, so that when they get invaded by the Dominion, they won't get absolutely slaughtered. And it's all the horde of locusts that are surrounding Bajor. So I figured negation of damage makes like a bit of a nice thematic link there, and it's something we don't have in game.
Which ties back to last week's away team Sulu, who froze
Because
his
I'm
ship.
sorry, I missed the discussion. I had to run to the little captain's room, which coincidentally is where the first time I met George Takei was in the little captain's room. Anyway,
Anyway, you can't say anyway after that. What happened?
No, it was at the same Smithsonian Festival, and I was in there, and I hear him saying to another person, he goes, "We used to refer to these as our personal dehydration chambers."
Wow.
And then
I'm glad that he's a weirdo. I wanted him to be a weirdo
awesome.
in my head.
Damn it, I missed it. What happened?
I'm sorry.
He just looked down at Shar and said, "Oh my."
You'll just have to watch it in the... I would just tell the story of how apparently on the old Star Trek they would refer to urinals as their personal dehydration chambers, which I heard in Takei's round tones in the men's room at the Smithsonian.
There's a captain's log joke in there somewhere, but don't go there. We're high class.
Are we?
No.
No. That's just straight no.
Premium.
So yeah, like I feel like we have a good few
We're the premium number 1 and number 2 show for Star Trek Talk.
Oh no.
Nailed it.
It's the lowest brow it's ever been.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Napoleon Bonaparte. Anyway, please carry on.
Okay, so you remember in Galaxy Quest when he's learning how to drive and they're trying to take it out of space dock and he's like scraping the ship against the side?
Yeah.
That's this show.
Are we going to have Mr. Shyaporn, are we going to have a prop here? Are we going to have... Is this the teacup?
Ooh.
No, I'm just changing teapots.
Oh, I thought that was
Since
going to be
we're
the
in
Excelsior teacup. I got really hyped that. I've been looking for one of those for years.
I mean, it is. Yeah, I know.
Is it Vulcan tea?
It's a teacup.
Oh.
No, it's Earl Grey, of course.
Of course.
'Cause it's...
Hot.
Anyway, so your next crew, Fleet Admiral Vance.
This was requested, and I really want to see Vance in the game as well because he's one of the best things about Discovery Season 3. I love Oded Variant, everything he's in. He was one of my number one fan cast for Doctor Strange until they casted Benedict Cumberbatch. And I figured, okay, he is Command IPSec. There is no way to avoid this. That is what he is. I could have tried to bullshit some kind of med because he kind of psychoanalyzes Burnham, but I was like, no, that doesn't fly. So I figured, why not make him an inspiring diplomat and give him some ridiculous gauntlet rolls?
Oh yeah, I've just seen those actually.
No.
Yeah,
I wanted him to be a crew you would use a lot.
I noticed that for him, and you have one other coming up, and that's a sort of a big deal because we've had 2 top 20 command roles in the last 3 years, and it's 4-star Dexter Remick, who everyone has probably frozen, and then sheer fucking hubris Admiral Kirsten Clancy up there too. So those are the only command. That's why Kalis has been good value
dominant,
as an honor hull crew for so long, as they just don't print good command gauntlet crew. So that would definitely make him interesting.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a nice way of making sure that even if you phase him out of Voyages, because God knows this skill set gets cycled out a lot, this will at least make him relevant day by day and make him and the double collections even more so now, because I didn't know about the collections when I made these crew. Oh yeah, because he's
veteran.
Is he veteran?
Yeah. No, you didn't make him veteran. Unless I
Yes,
missed it.
I think I
Yes, he did.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
I was going to say, I'm sure we gave him veteran.
Anyway.
Because an important part of his backstory is that, he is basically, he's been in crisis mode for so long that he doesn't know how to react to Burnham and Co.'s idealism. So I did give him veteran, so, that's a new idol, but we know.
Can I just have my minute of gushing about Admiral Vance in Season 3 of Disco? Because it was so...
You may.
He is, thank you. He is just such a good character in the whole series. Just from going sort of flip-flopping from being sort of the badass admiral to chewing Saru out for various things to actually being in command of this whole fleet and showing the amount of stress he's under, to giving that little bit of leeway for Burnham going off on her little voyages and not being sort of going to Saru, and you when sort of Burnham essentially committed insubordination for going on a secret mission with Georgiou, for him to turn around and go to Saru, he's your problem. She's your problem. You need to deal with it. And little things, but then by the end of it, him turning around and kind of going, don't like what you did, but I like the way you did it. And, it's just a kind of he's such a heartwarming, I love everything you do character. He's just, yeah.
He is a perfect, nurturing, leadership figure, because it's a case of he will correct you when you're wrong, but he won't ever do it in a way that diminishes you, only in a way that makes it clear that he expects better of you.
Yeah.
And I know that I was probably not alone in thinking, "Oh God, don't make him a bad role. Don't make him a villain."
Kaiser
I was
in chat said
so
the same thing. Bad role, yeah, it's a thing.
It's such a Trek tradition, and I think it's born out of Roddenberry's military background of everyone bad gets kicked upstairs so they're out of the way, and it's Discovery has been so good about averting that trope that I was really worried that they would veer off, but no, they kept him on the straight and narrow, and I'm really happy about that.
And he learns.
He does,
and he's willing to admit when he's mistaken, or no. Really
growth in my admirals is more likely than you think.
You could have given him engineering because of his wonderful monologue about how the transporter system and waste retrieval system works.
No, I'm very disappointed. His ship line isn't "it shit, Maybe that can be diplomatic Vance in a future.
I tried to make this as true to life as possible, so they would not put "it shit,
Well, seeing as Admiral Clancy is the hubris and not sheer fucking hubris, then yeah, I think
those
you might
cowards.
be right there. The hubris doesn't even make sense. Anyway, carry on.
What would you prefer? It's poop emoji,
Yes. If they ever emoji support in the game. I dare you, please.
Well, you will also notice I made sure to call him Fleet Admiral Vance, and I didn't put his first name. I didn't just put Admiral Vance because I envision him having variants depending on what they might have him do in future things, in which case then you can diversify and have maybe stronger bases and an engineering or whatever other skill he shows off.
What is his first
Like
name?
Silver Fox Vance.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, well, he's always that. You were saying Idle?
What is his first name? I actually don't know.
Charles.
Admiral.
Oh, Charles.
Oh, sorry.
Charles? No, it's not Charles Vance.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Chuck for sure.
No, I'm thinking of Charles Dance.
Oh,
Yeah. It's just like, it's Charles. Okay. Anyway.
He is Fleet Admiral Charles Vance. Believe it or not, I did take a quick peek at Memory Alpha just to make sure I wasn't getting my details wrong. I did do that.
Okay. Charles
Crazy.
Vance, but there's Charles Dance. Okay, that's gonna.
How do you get Chuck from Charles anyway?
If you ask him nicely.
Nice.
Doesn't make sense, but that's fine.
Elliot.
It flies. He's got the right idea.
Shy's like, literally, Ferengi traditionalist shuttles are more fun than this stream.
I like that you went for Ferengi like traditionalist and not Zindi or whatever other ones we've got.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Alright.
dear.
Your next crew, from the same season, Temporal Agent Yor. I'm excited you picked this one.
Yes, I wanted something weird because he is a very weird character. He is probably I couldn't justify anything for him trait-wise. Like, it was always going to be like Beetlejuice and Starfleet Federation and Temporal Agent, and that was it. I gave him Desperate, but...
You could have taken this opportunity to put Kelvin in there. Because this is the first official crossover between Kelvinverse and Prime Universe, which was established in the episode, which when I heard that, I was just giddy with excitement that it went nowhere.
It's
but
a bit of a
just
galaxy brain moment when that happens, yeah. Because so for context, like, Otto, because I know you didn't get this far in the season, he is
I'm feeling like I should probably watch Discovery now.
so you'll notice he is wearing the TNG season... He is wearing the TNG...
I know all the Chakotay episodes by heart, so don't even start.
It's real to him, Dan.
That's true, Trek.
It's real to him.
My Trek.
Yeah, so he's wearing the TNG Season 1 outfit because he comes from 2379 in the Kelvin universe, so from the Abrams movies. So he traveled forward in time and across universes, and that's relevant for Giorgio's type of storyline.
Actually,
and so
when I saw the art you picked, I'm like, oh, that's a TNG uniform. Like, I should probably watch Discovery now.
Just to give you some context, he doesn't do much more than stand there like that. It's actually a hologram.
Yeah, because it's a hologram. He is long since dead. I should have given him a hologram, but it's meant to be a representation of what he is. Paul Welch points out, alas, poor Yor, I knew him well.
Yeah, I like how Chad's getting in on it.
Love it.
Yeah, no, Chad's getting in. I'm appreciated because, like, I put a lot of thought into what these crew would be like, and I was like, this guy's not going to have many traits. He's going to be useless for events. So let me make him a bit of a horse on voyages with a really interesting skill set. I don't know who else has this one in this particular combination.
Sex Med. Let me look.
Bashir is the same skill set. I don't know if he's the same combo, though.
Yeah.
I think he's like Psi something, whatever.
I feel like he's a Psi primary, but yeah, I wanted to make him sort of appropriate to, because Sex Psi, that's kind of that dovetails with Temporal Agent and Med. They always give Med to characters that are like receiving medical care as well as like who actually do medical care. So I figured, you know what, I'll allow that. But I wanted to give him something unique because otherwise you would just freeze him and forget him forever.
So Paul says during the scene I had to immediately rewatch it, and I think there is two reasons to rewatch the scene. Like one is the fact of like this little hint between the Kelvinverse and coming into the Prime universe, but also because the amazing dialogue with Kovich, who is in the sort of like the glasses played by David Cronenberg, and also the characterization given to Hugh Culber in season 3 is just immensely improved, and he's sort of a big part of diagnosing what's wrong with Giorgio. I thought that entire Giorgio arc in season 3 was fantastic.
Extremely well handled,
really loved it. And if anyone's actually listened to the Pod Directive, which is the StarTrek.com official podcast, Michelle Yeoh, who plays Philippa Georgiou, is on this week's the start of season 2 they're doing. It's worth a listen. She is absolutely a fantastic guest and worth listening to. She talks a little bit about her sort of experience in this episode and where she's going with it. It's worth a listen to. But yeah, I love sort of this character in this art, not because he doesn't do anything, he stands there, he's a hologram and they just sort of zoom around him, but I love what it means for the franchise and what it sort of progresses.
It's extremely subtle, and it's like that thing that, like, for normal people, they're like, oh, that's just the guy wearing bright yellow, but it's like, no, that's actually really fucking important.
No, and also the Kelvinverse adopts the TNG season 1 uniforms, but later in this, because this is what threw people
in Nemesis time.
In Nemesis time, like, people were just like, well, hang on, this makes no sense to me, and like, all the nerds were like, no, in this parallel timeline, if you go across here, and then it travels across the future, and then normal people are like, I've stopped listening.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Yes. All right.
And Michelle Yeoh can jump a motorcycle on top of a moving train, so anything she's in.
She can also like share a motorcycle with James Bond and somehow not be the second coolest person on that bike. So you know.
Yeah, that was one of our skirmish Bond watches, and like, damn, she's so much cooler than Bond in this.
Yeah, she's extremely cool and Tomorrow Never Dies.
Where is Michelle Yeoh now, and where is Pierce Brosnan now? That's all I got to say. Michelle Yeoh
Pierce Brosnan has turned into a bit of a silver fox, so
well,
he's not doing too badly for himself.
No, true. Okay.
And you'll also notice I had to plumb the depths for a ship ability for him because he doesn't say anything. That is his file that like is classified by Section 31, I believe. So that's all I could find for him in terms of dialogue.
All right, moving on. Next one. Admiral McCoy. God, why do we not have this crew yet?
So I tried to make sure that these crew were relatively balanced because it's like, you know, you don't want to make every crew an absolute banger because you want to make it a bit more realistic, right? But with this one, I said, fuck it. I am tired of having bad Med Command crew or Med Command crew that get refreshed at like the point that previous one was at 2 years ago. So I said, give him big voyage numbers, make him big and strong and cool because even for as rough as TNG Season 1 gets, there are some real shining spots, and I feel like his scene with Data is so sincere and well handled, and it isn't embarrassing like a lot of like Encounter at Farpoint can be. And it's like I wanted to do him justice because he is so good in this scene.
Well, he's the person. I mean, not talking about the crew or character. He's the person that Roddenberry and whoever the decision makers chose to push off the maiden voyage of TNG. So it's like, you know, they could have picked anyone. They could have, I don't know if Kirk would have agreed to, Shatner would have agreed to be on it, but it's like they picked McCoy out of everyone they could have picked on. And yeah, it was a very endearing scene. And I feel like you're leaning heavily on the collection value here.
Well, you made all these before we had veteran inspiring physician expansion, so they were just put in there because of what he was, and now post actually hell he's amazing crew to get now.
He would be guess what, if he dropped in like if the big book was still going, I would struggle to tell him when he wasn't tier 1.
Well,
are you old enough to have watched the premiere of TNG?
Oh god, no.
Because when he appeared at the end of that first part, I was so excited. It's just so. I'm glad you've given him his due.
I was 5 years old, so I actually had an argument when I was 5 years old and watching TNG. I had an argument with my dad and said, no, Picard's the old one. He came first. Kirk came later because he's younger.
Oh wow!
I was 5. Come on, it's like he looks younger. He is obviously the newer one. It's like that's how my brain worked then.
Totally how it works.
So explain to me exobiology.
Because he, at this point in his career, he has operated on a Klingon Chancellor, albeit unsuccessfully. He has operated on a torpedo. He has operated on Spock multiple times. Because this is post, like, the...
He literally wrote the book on it.
But
there's a book that he wrote on exobiology.
Decades after he actually did those things, though.
Oh yeah, so he would be an exobiologist by definition. Like, this is after he wrote Leonard H. McCoy's Comparative Alien Biology. It's like, are you trying to tell me he wouldn't be an exobiologist?
No, I'm just asking because they're really inconsistent with this. Usually they give a trait that is relevant to that character's
exactly what
point
they're doing.
in time.
Yeah.
So I take it you're on board with every data has to be a musician then, right? And that's sort of
the only time I would give that leeway is if it's like, if you had a TNG season 1 from an episode before he shows an interest in the violin, okay, that can be not a musician. But the instant you show me a data that is after that point, he has to be a musician. In my mind, that's how it should work. Like, you should that internal consistency is kind of important to me, and you will notice that that is how I do these crew here. It's not how WIG always does it, which might become a bit more of a contentious point as more collections get added or not. But I wanted to make sure that it was consistent with who he is at all times. Yes.
He would also be the only 4 stat booster collection crew in the game. So there you go.
Well deserved.
Well,
Your plumbing depths of crew don't exist. This is why I love you, Water.
Yeah. Yeah, my nerd encyclopedic knowledge. That's
your next
well, there's many other things to love about you.
Your next crew certainly goes to some depths. Polywater Crusher. Can I just point out your ship ability? I haven't had the comfort of a husband, and I missed out, or a man, on there because I couldn't fit it in. But
I was reading the transcript from that episode, and I couldn't believe that she said I haven't had the comfort. Yeah. If I ever get around to making Polywater Picard, I will just have gobbled noise as a ship ability.
So these are the stats when the card is released. What are the stats 2 weeks after you release this card going to be?
What?
Isn't that? Oh, I thought all Polywater cards just changed.
Oh, okay, I got it.
I misunderstood.
Okay, no, I get it.
Misunderstood.
Very meta. I like that awkward pause where you all just went.
I can't believe Shy is like showing us up on our show. Get him off, goddammit. We're making this look bad.
Shyaporn,
yeah, no, we have to nerf that ship ability. We have to get it out. We have to change it right now.
Noted multi-millennial aged creature Shyaporn, who's been around. He's the Dorian Gray of the show.
Yeah, that picture behind you, by the way, what is that? No.
Oh, that's right. You want to see what I actually look like?
Oh yeah,
I've just aged into a cartoon.
Was that Aragorn's broken sword?
Ooh.
What you mean? Yeah, this whole thing.
This whole thing.
Fantastic.
Like between you and Ben's Majora's Mask, we got some real nerds on this show. Christ.
I wonder why.
Yeah, crazy, right? So
Beverly, Crusher, Doctor.
That's all there is to say, really. She's perfectly average. She has bad traits, but guess what? You aren't finishing and getting this crew for the traits. You're getting it because this is a very niche card.
You gave her desperate?
Yes.
Well, she hasn't known the touch of a man in a while.
Are you trying to tell me she's not desperate?
Oh, Jesus.
Like, guess what? I had a bit of fun. What can I say?
No, I'll go with it.
By the way, I know we're past it, but Admiral McCoy's arena abilities treat her like a lady, and now I'm have it in my head to the tune of "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
Treat her like a lady.
Yeah.
Oh god, I wonder if the sound clips exist in Trek for you to make that song out of just Star Trek clips.
Probably.
Like, you know how they have that "Let It Snow" with just Patrick Stewart quotes?
Yeah.
Shia, you have your next. You have your next.
I feel like that's too niche. That's too weird.
No, we already got a request with Brexton.
Yes.
Everyone gets one.
Okay.
Everybody gets one. There you go.
Your next crew, Kempek.
Right, so we have Gorkon, we have Gowron, we have Laurel, we have Kales, but we don't have arguably the OG. Like, Kempek is the original scheming, magnificent bastard Klingon. Because, like, whenever I think of Kempek, I just think of him laughing as he expertly maneuvers Picard into becoming the Arbiter of Succession, and how he's basically just laughing at how he's plunged his Starfleet captain into the shit. He's like, "It's your problem now, buddy." So I made sure to give him Crafty, Gambler. I feel like there should be Maverick in there as well.
Probably. I probably missed it.
There should be fat. They need to add the fat trait just for Kim Peck.
I was going to say that should be the sound clip, not him speaking, but Kaylest saying, calling him.
I do have Kaylest map mocked up, and her ship ability is "You are still fat." So don't worry, I made sure to get that.
400% damage.
I think it is. So he's a bit of a hoss. You might recognize these roles. They are unboosted.
That looks like Rev Damar.
That's Locutus.
Oh.
So I wanted to give him.
Yeah, you're right. That's too big for Damar.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like Damar's only small fry.
Well, no, you see the command. This is the other command primary crew. So.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that he would get his day in the sun. So his bases aren't great, but I wanted to give him some gauntlet use because every other Klingon of noted like TNG fame has it. I wanted to make sure he is appropriate in the game. And I would also want him to have his chair. Like the art has to have him in the chair, looming over the chamber.
Yes, his second diplomacy should be security.
It should be, that's my fault.
Idle's contracted to have one mistake per card so that we're forced to make our own in the future, not have him.
I get paid more. I can
appreciate that.
Yeah, who knew? I can't believe Kenpec double dipped.
Can I make a recommendation for everyone in chat and everyone here as well? If you want to read a good Trek book, because there are a lot of crap Trek books, but there are a few real peachy ones. Go read The Art of the Impossible, because it features it's one of the Lost Tales. It features a young Kenpec with his first officer Moog, and they deal with sort of like a Klingon Cardassian conflict, and it's a really good highlight.
And I believe it also features like Ian Troi and Curzon Dax as well.
And Elias
the
Vaughn,
Lost Era.
Elias Vaughn as well, who is like an original book character, but he's a really good character, and it's on. It's well worth a read. It's very good.
He should have romantic as well. I feel like I don't know if I put that in there, but like,
oh, okay, yeah, I could see it.
Because Kayless, I feel like he should have that.
Hopeless romantic, I think. Yeah, you need to add that.
Yeah, he kind of hopeless romantic.
Hung up.
I also made sure that his ship ability was a bit slow because he is not a fast mover.
Okay. Moving on. Your final one this week: Parisi Squares, Worf, and Yar.
I had to get Worf in here. I had to. So I was actually given the idea for this from a friend of mine called Katie, who I've mentioned several times on the show. And the way I would envision this is you would have two super rares of Parisi Squares Worf and of Yar, and they would be command step, dipsec, and then obviously they would have some use on their own, like Worf especially because of the collection value. But then you would freeze them together. You would fuse them together in order to create this. And I don't know. I don't know how I ended up with like multiple TNG Season 1 cards in one stack. I feel like that's a weird fluke. But I don't know. I feel like it's appropriate. I'll have to show some love to some of the other series as we go on. But I don't know. I just like the idea of this. And I also like the idea of them being casual. I just like, you know what? No one's been casual. Put that on there.
I know you like Worf, but come on. There's no way they're releasing this as a legendary infusion crew. Worf standing there with his bulge and all. Like, if anything, it would be like two rare crew because they're all blue anyways, and then turn them into a super rare. That would still, you could do that.
I can dream. On a side note, WRG, if any of these crew appear in the game in the next 2 months, you owe me money.
As if they don't already. Come on.
Yeah, well. You might also notice that they have a banger of a ship ability.
Then why keep score?
Let's see, 6 second, 400% damage. What I want to know is, are we getting a crew for the two stand-ins behind them in the Parisi's uniforms? Why not?
Do you remember their names?
Do you?
No.
They look great in blue. What more do you need?
Maybe they'll be like thrown in a 0-star crew later on. I don't know. I'll imagine like your dip score 1. There you go.
We are sorely lacking a generic and the season 1 uniform works, but a shit-eaten grin Riker. Because he does that. He has that exact look in a dozen different episodes.
I did love this the picture I grabbed for it, because it's like he is just like yucking it up, and I feel like this is like 5 minutes before he goes to Data and Geordi, when like Geordi is teaching Data how to paint, and he says, a blind man teaching an android how to paint, that's got to be worth a few hundred pages. And he has that like massive grin on his face, and then Geordi and Data are like, fuck you too, asshole. On the way out the door.
That's another complaint to HR on the Enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah. William Riker was dismissive about my species and disabilities again.
It's too bad that Riker's in charge of HR.
The complaints go to Deanna naturally. She has to read them all.
For fuck's sake, Will.
Please, just stop talking. Just close your mouth and stop talking.
I sense you're a real asshole today, Will. I do have to say, early season Frakes is maybe my favorite actor plus time period ever. Like he looks almost exactly like my cousin when he smiles. So. Like when I grew up watching it, I would think about my cousin, but he has that look all the time. That is so good early season.
He's constantly yucking it up. He cannot stop himself from smiling, which I feel like it's kind of endearing. Like I like a character who's having fun with their time.
Okay. Right, so let's bring back something to finish the night off.
Let's go to bed.
Let's go to bed. Last night, because we put this in the show notes. We're going to finish up where we started last week, and we're going to continue, and my button is going to work this time, if I can find it. Yes, we're going to finish the finale of...
This Wednesday on UPN, an all-out war. Competitors from all over the cosmos go head-to-head in a battle for supremacy. Captain Kirk versus Spock. Captain Kirk versus the Gorn. Captain Kirk versus basic human decency. Find out who will fall and who will be victorious on Timeline Showdown.
Yes, we're actually Sorry, for people listening to the podcast, Shire is fighting a very big cuddly Gorn.
He just did the neck chop.
Nice.
Double fist.
That's my stuffed Gorn.
I
The
love it.
closest thing I have.
Oh, this old thing.
I feel you're going to say that every time Shire brings on a prop. Oh, this old. So, if you remember, we were contending who was going to be the replacement ship's counselor for Deanna Troi, and we have narrowed it down to our semi-finalists. We have Morn, Pyraith Cult Dukat, Tommy Gunn Dixon, and Groundskeeper Boothby.
Goofby?
Willie.
Is that you? Your Groundskeeper Goofby.
So I'm going to paste a link into chat to a straw poll, and we shall begin the voting. So Tommy Gunn Dixon versus Groundskeeper Boothby. Who is your vote for a replacement counsellor? I think this is a little bit of a slam dunk. The reason he won so far, it's got to be Boothby. Tommy Gun Dixon, if you sat down in a room with a guy who's holding a Tommy gun, looking at a Borg, just going, just give me, just 1 second. You keep talking. I'm just gonna shoot. I'm just gonna fuck these Borg up, right?
Okay.
Who did Tommy Gun Dixon bypass to get to the final break?
Hang on.
Oh God.
Let's see.
He
beat Mirror Regent Worf. Fury Kess.
I think Fury Kess was a mistake. I don't know.
I was outvoted. I voted for Regent Worf as I am known to do. So this isn't on me.
Okay,
Shai, we need to hear your perspective because we've been talking about these crew for like 6 months. I feel like. So, who are you picking here?
I mean, my perspective is the fix is clearly in. If you had Dixon, who did the seating on this bracket? Like, I mean, the only argument for Tommy Gun Dixon is that I guess he'd be a good counselor because of all the characters in this bracket. Maybe Picard at this point needs therapy the most.
You need to be able to let it out when you're angry. Like, okay, all of the past suppressed issues he had with the Borg, do you think he would be able to work through them by sitting down and having a chat with Boothby in the garden? No, he needs to let it out. He needs to not repress the anger any longer.
Picard does all of his best therapy in a garden or orchard or vineyard, rolling around in the mud.
Yes,
That
anger.
is his.
He let it out with
That's
his
right.
brother.
It's exactly.
Yeah, so I don't think Boothby would go for a roll in the mud, pardon the turn of phrase, with someone who had that much trauma, right?
Well, if they really needed it, he might.
I realize I'm doing the devil's advocate here, but, you know.
I think Chat has...
Did I just ruin a transition to talking about android mud? I'm sorry. I brought that up to you.
It's getting close. We're 63 to 38 on Boothby versus Dixon. So Chat, if you want to pull in a little bit there, please. You got a few more minutes. It's I think it's
you'll allow this to go on.
I can't vamp much longer for these.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fuck it. It's Boothby. Let's move on. That's quite clearly Boothby.
My favorite Martian.
Well, yeah. Species 8472 invader. The real invader is the invader that assumes your face. Okay, chat. I am going to put another poll in there for Morn versus Paraith Cult Dukat. I have the same question. Who did Paraith Cult Dukat bypass? Vedic Winadami
Win.
and
I remember.
Win.
Yeah, Win was the big one.
Come on, that's
Warship
easy.
EMA. I think everyone's going to call Morn. I think I need another straw poll here. I think we're looking at the final here. Okay, right. Talk to me about Paraith Cult Dukat. How would he be a good listener? We're going to probably repeat ourselves from last week.
See, here's the thing. Paraith Cult Dukat is like a fun one because he doesn't care about your bullshit. He is still the most self-centered, most egotistical, most my way or nothing character, but he has to listen to your bullshit because he is appropriating the appearance of someone who cares. So therefore, he has to sit there and listen to you talk to you about your issues and not care, but have to act like he's caring. And is that not the best therapy of all?
Sounded like most of the therapists I've seen.
That's true. Yeah, most therapists will definitely bullshit and pretend like they actually care about what you're saying. Morn has no such compunctions. He would tell you straight to your face what a load of bollocks that is. So
he would just.
He doesn't.
Morn has no filter.
He doesn't
no
have the
filter
compassion that
keeps
even a
going
fake
going
Dukat would have.
And go, and you try to get a word in edgeways, and he's just like, no, I'm going to tell you everything about you in intrinsic detail. Intrinsic detail. Two pant. Hang on, how many pant am I on? 0.5 pant on this one, apparently. Oh, no, that's legal.
You should have just looked down and been like, no pants.
So they're basically shorts at that
Oh, love it.
I mean, Morn's therapy comes with a full bar service, so that's
And isn't that the real therapy after all? Okay, this is looking 71 to 29%. This is looking very much like the Morn show. So,
They were destined to meet from the beginning. The links in show notes.
Show
for the
notes.
finals.
Okay, right.
Not predetermined. I just put it in there.
No, thank you. That's why. Right, here we go. Okay, let me grab this chat. Okay, this is the final countdown. Really, this is the. This is the rock.
I like how we have that that sound bar, or whatever it is. You've got the stream deck, sorry, and you still have to.
Anyway, Groundskeeper Boothby versus.
He has no
Morn.
relevant clips. That's
I have
why.
nothing relevant.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a hard
You
one.
should have picked a sound clip from Morn if you were going to do anything. So many.
There are so many to choose from. There really are. I mean, it's hard to narrow down at least 5 to pick from to put on here. What can I do?
It's one of my favorite YouTube videos. Really, is to top 13 Morn inspirational quotes. Like, there's so many of them.
I'm gonna have to make that now.
It's like slowly panning across the sunset. You see quotation mark, ... quotation mark.
Okay.
Oh god, he's actually writing it down. God damn it!
I'm so glad I just thought of that.
Asterisk belches latinum asterisk.
Okay, so Paul Welch says Morn because Boothby only gives advice outside. Outside sucks.
Well, he also gives it to you if you're in a boxing ring and you're having weird neurological disorders.
That's true.
So he's variable. He's a varied kind of guy. It's not quite cognitive behavioral therapy, but it'll do.
So I know we're along with the joke that Morn never shuts up, but he's a good listener, right? Because every time someone talks to him on screen, he is capable of listening.
I think it's one of my favorite recurring jokes in like DS9. Not that he doesn't talk, but whenever someone is talking to him and then he opens his mouth, like visibly goes, and then something interrupts him every time. I love it. It's the best.
It's a little bit tangential, but can someone explain to me why? Apparently, the DS9 writers found this the most hilarious thing ever. Whenever someone says the name Captain Baudet, the next person over in the scene has to say the Galamite. Like, what is that?
Is
that some in-joke that I'm not aware of? The Galamite? Like, yes, we all know he's a Galamite. Why do you keep asking?
He's got the transparent skull. I think, yeah.
It might
Maybe
be
there are
because
two Captain Baudets.
Yeah, maybe.
The Galamite with the human.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the actual explanation. I do feel like it's like how spaced out are the Captain Baudet references? Because like if it's like every season, then it's like, yeah, you need some clarification. Who the fuck is Captain Baudet? If you're not
no
like...
one knows what Galamite is. They might as well have said the rat.
Well, here's the thing.
Gallimimus. Gallimimus.
Captain Baudet the Galamite came in 5th place, and Captain Baudet the human came in 6th place in the last event. Right? That's the distinction.
Okay.
That's true. It's true. He's got us there. The science is sound.
Actually, no. I'm satisfied with your answer because how many millions, billions are in Starfleet? Surely there's got to be more than one Captain Baudet, right?
Clearly.
I assume so. There's 2 Captain Shelbys.
To Dax, there is only one Captain Baudet. And that's the one with the transparent skull. So she can look at his brains. Anyway. Well, I'm gonna look at the ratings. Look at that. Oh
no, continue that. Finish that.
Well, there's a reason Worf's jealous of Captain Baudet. You know, not saying anything, but anyway. Looks like Morn is our clear winner.
And there's the visual joke of Morn where he listens the most of anyone, and he has the smallest ears of any character. They just have these tiny little
ferret ears, basically.
It was probably that, but maybe it was to offset the fact that he's always in shot with Quark, who has the biggest ears. So I don't know.
Okay.
That feels like the kind of joke they do. They like that kind of visual humor.
And someone asked in chat for Captain Baudet original card write-up a few weeks ago. So
how
his ship ability was going to be the Galamite question mark. So.
Yeah, no, that's one where I well, that's the problem. Like, what does he look like?
Well,
what does he do? I don't know.
There was an episode of Enterprise where season 1 where this invading species sort of just randomly attacks and boards the Enterprise, and they do have transparent skulls, or they're very kind of odd looking, sort of very CGI. I wonder if they're sort of like early Galamites. Maybe they were the ones. Remember that one? Maybe.
No.
I do remember the episode, but I don't know if they were Galamites. That feels
no
like
one knows. But this is the thing.
Guess what? Not every Ferengi is a Doctarian. Duh. Racist.
Oh, fine. I'm very tolerant in real life, but in Star Trek, I'm a complete speciesist.
On that note...
Your Federation is a cute Homo sapiens only club. Human rights. The very concept is racist.
On that note, well, Morn has won 71% to 29%. A clear win for Morn.
Who mourns for Morn? Not our audience.
It's only taken us 6 months to get through this very simple poll, but we've been busy. Things have happened. We've been moving house. We've been quitting the game several times. Anyway,
we should have had the next category for them to pick now, but
we should
threw the show together.
Throw in some suggestions in the chat, gentlemen. Throw in some suggestions
in the 2 seconds before I end the show. Yes, please put them in the chat.
We'll give our viewers a chance to pick the next one next time we get.
Yeah, we'll open up a vote next episode. Thank you very much, Shai, for joining us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. If anyone wants to check out your YouTube or your Twitter, do you have a Twitter or YouTube? Where can we find you?
It's always Shyaporn. You spell it like you're missing one porn. That's how I always describe it. Shy.
You're Shyaporn.
Yeah.
So what's the etymology of that idiom?
Oh, it's a Thai name. Shy in Thai means man, and then Shyaporn means blessed victory.
Very nice.
Far less lewd than I was expecting.
Yeah, sorry.
Now you can blame Western culture for that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, my real name is banned in the chat feed filters.
Is it real? Wow.
Yeah, from the
Well,
old Disruptor Beam days.
To be fair, they ban their own crew names too, so it's
Right.
Yeah.
Not heavy indictment. Thank you very much, AutoStars, for joining us. We will see you again next week, where I believe we might play a little game show. Just a reminder as well, on Tuesday, we will be doing a special show at normal time, where, yes, I will be pulling 100 recaps packs. We may have a few guests on to do the same thing, to do some recap packs, because it's recap time and it's actually a decent one to pull, so come and join us then. We'll be having a bit of a casual chat along, pulling streams, pulling packs.
noted low spender Captain Idle.
VIP 0.
Yeah.
Right.
VIP
Just
0.5.
Gracie, not Georgia Gracie.
let me just ask my good friend WRG Ben, can you reset my VIP? No. And then on Wednesday next week, we might have a little bit of a game show for you. So stay tuned for that. So from myself, from Stars, from Auto, and from Shy, we will see you next time. Ta-ra.